Good afternoon, gamers! Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We're doing some more Necrobarista today. We started it last Wednesday. We are going to continue today. I don't know that we'll quite finish it. It might be another week before we finish the whole story, but we're about halfway through now. But Ariel, congrats on first. Kitty, congrats on second. Ariel says one large chai, please. Oops, I already drank it. Sorry. I'll have to make another one. I really did have a chai this morning. Kitty said it's 5 p.m. already. It sure is in some parts of the world. For me, it's noon. So my day's still just getting started. I did some shopping this morning, but other than that, still starting my day. I had to go to the pet store actually to get some more, some new snacks for the Cinder Puppy because her vet thinks that she might have an allergy to chicken, believe it or not. I guess that's really common with dogs. But a lot of her snacks, I have to say snack. I can't say T-R-E-A-T because she knows that word. But a lot of them have chicken in them. So I had to go find some that don't. But like even greenies have chicken in them, which I didn't realize. I'd never really thought about like what greenies were made out of or like what they taste like. They're just green. Ariel said, I have an idea for a 3-year pin, Fangy drinking a chai. Oh. Alright, I'll take note. I know JD wants a fursuit washing pin. I have to consider all my options. But yeah, I went shopping for some doggo stuff. I also had to go get some cheese because pill pockets, that's what I've always used to give her medicine. Pill pockets have chicken in them too. I tried seeing if there were any flavors that didn't use chicken, but they all do, even like the beef ones. So I ended up getting cheese. Which, you know, she'll be happy with. Who doesn't love cheese? I guess other than like the lactose intolerant. But like, they'd probably love cheese if they could eat it. But how is everybody else doing today? Is everybody having a good Wednesday so far? I don't blame you. Maybe one day soon I'll be able to stop blaming myself too. You can now speak to Tuan and Hannah to experience a side story walking to the sky. I don't know who that is. So can I go inside? Oh. We're looking at stuff outside today. Do you think there's stuff down here? Well, funeral. But it's funereal, not funeral. I don't think it's a typo. No, I can't go. There's an invisible wall. Ashley's Inventions 1. Is this... I don't think this is the original one that we read, because we read about her robots. But I think this is different. Alright, well, let's start with these ones, I guess. And then we'll head towards the door. Oh, this is a chain. It's like a chainsaw. It looks like, kinda. I love that tune. Ashley's original ideas. Do not steal. Kitchen assistant. According to Maddie, the best way to chop hard ingredients like carrots or celery is to place the thing you're chopping near the point where the tip of the knife touches the board, since this gives you more leverage. I looked it up, and this is called a Class 2 lever, which gives you way more torque when cutting hard things. The mechanical advantage you get from a Class 2 lever can be increased by making the knife longer. That gave me the idea to make a knife that was 1 meter long. That would provide a much greater mechanical advantage than the knives Maddie uses, which are only 10 centimeters or 18 centimeters long. Also guys, if the game's too loud, let me know. Maddie says that I'm not allowed to use any knives that are longer than 18 centimeters and said something about a weave katana, so that idea is a dead end. I didn't know what she meant by that, so I looked up online and found some videos of guys using really long blades to cut things like water bottles. Apparently the key to cutting is force and speed. Since Maddie doesn't want any blades longer than 18 centimeters, that means getting more force from leverages out. But I could compensate for this by just making the blades really, really fast. I create Kitchen Assistant version 1 that uses a shorter knife, but it's affixed to a wheel that turns at 290 rotations per minute, even with the blade attached. The first time I turned it on, the blade wasn't completely secured and it flew off and embedded in the ceiling. To make sure this wouldn't happen again, for version 2, I welded the blade to the flywheel so that it won't come off. I think that Maddie will be really pleased with the result, because I only had to use a 10cm blade, which is much smaller than the original blade size that she had a problem with. Also, when choosing which knife to weld onto the flywheel, I picked the knife that Maddie says is the best one. I think her personal bias will cause her to like my invention more, because I built it using her favorite knife. Or she'll be mad that you ruined her knife. Knife Retriever. Kitchen Assistant version 2 was a big success, but my testing of Kitchen Assistant version 1 left the knife embedded in the ceiling, and I wasn't able to reach the knife by climbing on top of my stepladder. I could probably reach it if I placed my stepladder on the countertop, but Maddie says that's dangerous, so I wanted to find a way to retrieve the knife without breaking that rule. I was thinking of making a giant magnet, but electromagnets require a lot of power, and the last time I tried to draw a lot of power from the outlet, it tripped the circuit breakers. And if you try taping the circuit breakers in place so they don't trip, things catch on fire, and it's a lot harder to fix, especially since hiding that kind of thing from Maddie requires so much effort. Keeping the smell of smoke covered while replacing a breaker box is like doing 2 jobs at once, and that's 2 jobs more than I want to do on a Saturday afternoon. So a magnet's probably out, especially because I'm not sure if a knife is made out of a ferromagnetic material. I don't know what Maddie's knives are made of, but if they're made out of aluminum, the magnet won't work. I might have to try the electromagnet thing if I can't think of a plan before Maddie notices. She probably wouldn't like it. The good news is that the knife is firmly embedded in the wood, and the compressive force on the knife is enough to prevent it from falling down due to gravity, unless a loud vibration caused it to fall down, so there's a very low probability of the knife falling down and hurting someone. The only thing that could disturb this is if it got humid and the wood around the knife started to warp, and the weather forecast said we're not getting any rain for the next few days, so I should have plenty of time to get the knife down before it's at risk of falling. Just as long as Maddie doesn't look up when she's standing behind that part of the counter, everything will be fine. Visibility reducer. To prevent Maddie from looking up and seeing the knife on the ceiling, I created a device to dissuade her from looking up. If you put a really bright halogen lamp near somewhere, it really makes people not want to look in that direction. So I figured that if the knife had a halogen lamp next to it, anytime Maddie thought of looking at the ceiling, she would decide, no, I don't want to look up there, because there's a bright halogen lamp that will probably blind me. I'll look down at the counter instead. Or maybe she'll look up at the light, and then she'll be so disoriented by how bright it is that she won't see the knife in the ceiling. The LED in my headlamp only goes up to 50 lumens, and it takes 500 lumens to disorient a person. The problem was that I couldn't figure out how to affix the halogen lamp to the ceiling. That was the same problem I had with retrieving the knife. It's too high up. Then I realized a simple solution. I could get the halogen lamps up to the ceiling the same way I got the knife up there, by having the Kitchen Assistant version 1 through them. The halogen lamps aren't sharp enough to embed themselves in the wood, so I had to apply a layer of fast-drying adhesive, covered by another layer of wood glue. I figured that fast-drying adhesive will hold them there long enough for the wood glue to dry, and that will keep them from falling until I can figure out a way to get the knife down. My first attempt to use the Kitchen Assistant version 1 to throw the halogen lamp up at the ceiling did not go so well, since it let go at the wrong time and instead flung the lamp into the wall. It took me almost 5 minutes to clean up all of the big pieces. There were a lot of pieces that I didn't have time to pick up, but they were small, so Maddie probably won't notice them, and if Che notices them, he'll probably clean them up without saying anything. The second attempt, I got the Kitchen Assistant version 1 to throw at the ceiling, but its velocity was too high, and when the ball hit the ceiling, it shattered instead of sticking. I tried lowering the RPM of the Kitchen Assistant version 2, but after my 5th attempt, I realized I was out of halogen bulbs. I wonder if I can recycle the broken pieces for anything. Lamp bulbs seem like they'd be very hard to reconstruct. She gets up to a lot of shenanigans, doesn't she? Let's see. So this is a tombstone. Oh, she's definitely a mad scientist for sure. Or maybe more like a mad engineer? Honestly, let me take a sippy. I've been thinking, said Kashan. Uh-oh, said Maddie. About the people that I've left behind. Well, I'm not going to see any of them again. One of them could be about to walk through that door, said Maddie. Oh, hey, Alice. Another club cup. Thank you, thank you. One of them could be about to walk through that door, said Maddie. Don't taunt me with possibilities, said Kishan. You brought it up. Yeah, well, he slumped over in a funk. Death has a real finality to it, you know? Yeah, it does. That's death. The travel from life to death is a very one-way street for all but a few individuals. And if you're standing here, then it's a bit late for chest paddles. I feel like... I can't tell if my glasses are blurry or if it's just the text. I think the text has like a slight glow to it. But good afternoon, Alice. How are you doing today? It does, okay. I was like, are my glasses smudged? Did Cinder lick my glasses? Because she does that. I guess I'm thinking more about the fact that I'm not going to see any of my old friends again. Not as long as they're alive, anyway. That does tend to be how death works, said Maddie. I hope you're not surprised. Not surprised, said Kishan. But also, I wouldn't have been surprised if that wasn't the case, you know? Like, I'm pretty sure on at least one occasion I've threatened people by saying, I will haunt you. And now that's never gonna happen. Pity, said Maddie. You could have been someone's grudge ghost film. Guess that one's confined to the annals of Japanese horror cinema. Hey, said Kishan. I was wondering, do you think there's any way for me to see what's going on at my funeral? Don't, said Maddie. Alright. I just thought, you know, it's kind of everyone's fantasy, right? To see what people have to say about them after they've passed? Wouldn't you want to see what's going on at your own funeral? I think it's none of your business what goes on at your funeral, said Maddie. Really? I mean, I think it's pretty common for people to plan their own funerals. At least, if they go late enough that they can see it coming. You know, I'd like to have my brother deliver a eulogy. Don't let them play any Barry Manilow songs, that sort of thing. Maddie blinked. Do you have a problem with Barry Manilow? No, I have no particular opinion on the man or his music, said Kishan. But a lot of people who are old enough to be planning their own funeral do. You can make your plans, but whatever unfolds at the funeral is up to those who attend it. Kishan blinked. What about the wishes of the dead? I thought you'd have a bit more sympathy for their interests, considering how often you interact with them. I care plenty about the dead, she said. You were asking about funerals. Funerals are for the living, my friend. Kishan opened his mouth to respond, but cut himself short. I never thought about it that way. I'm not sure what to say. If you're short on words but high on energy, you can expend some of that energy by carrying this box upstairs, said Maddie, gently kicking a large cardboard box that was resting underneath the counter. There's an alcove next to the bookshelf that would make a good home for this box. Kishan picked up the box, grateful for something to do with his hands. It was heavy enough that he had to make sure to lift with his legs, and not with his back, but not so heavy that he felt out of breath by the time he reached the top of the stairs. His breathing was heavy but not labored. It was a good feeling. Kishan set the box down at the spot Maddie had designated, and sat down for a moment, waiting for his heart rate to return to normal. It felt good to feel his heart beating inside of his chest. This is how it feels to be alive, he thought to himself. Damn, I'm gonna miss it. Alright, let's see what else we can talk to. Beth. Beth swung her knife in a horizontal slice, and the crowd let out an ooh. Oh, this is the Fight Club. Not too loud, she said. Her eyes were fixed on Kyle, but she was speaking to the crowd. So, as far as I remember, Beth was an actual living person, and Kyle was a ghost. Hey, Stormfrog. Time for coffee so strong it'll wake the dead. Hopefully. The last thing we want is someone coming down here to investigate a noise complaint. She heard a few grumbles in the crowd, but they quieted themselves. Everyone understood her meaning. Playing with real knives in this manner was the kind of thing that was strictly forbidden. Oh, strictly verboten. And no one wanted to be on the wrong side of Maddie's bad mood. Even those who didn't fear death quaked in their boots a bit at the prospect of Maddie's wrath. She made a few more horizontal slices with her blade, cutting the air. It was the kind of thing that people did to warm up the crowd, but Beth was unconcerned with what people thought about how she fought. Her movements with the knife were the only practice she was going to get with this knife, and she did her best to memorize the feel of the blade as it cut through the air. It was a terrible knife for a fight like this, a serrated edge. It was designed for ripping and tearing cooked meat that stood still on a plate, not fresh meat that was attached to a body prepared to evade its cuts. This was an entirely different kind of knife fight than the one before. When playing with practice knives, the goal was to strike the opponent in the torso. When playing with live knives, common etiquette dictated that stabs to the softer part of the torso, like the chest or stomach, stabs that were most likely to be fatal to a normal person, were strictly against the rules. In this battle, the goal was simply to draw blood. A cut to the arm or leg would do. Kyle was the first to make a move. He tried to feint to the right before hopping back on his left foot and swinging at her, but he made such an obvious show of telegraphing the attack that Beth had stepped out of his way well before his attack came. Kyle grinned. "I guess I'm not going to outsmart you." Beth kept her steely gaze trained on Kyle's right hand, the one that held the knife. "Well," he said, "I guess I'll have to outspeed you." This time he stabbed straight forward with a thrust of his arm. It was the first time he'd made an attack without fully committing to it by moving his feet. Beth had been afraid that he might try this. Kyle was nearly half a meter taller than her, and he'd finally figured out that his longer arms gave him a tremendous advantage against Beth and her shorter reach. The stab was directed at her shoulder, and she managed to duck out of the way fast enough, but there was no time for her to offer a counterswing before Kyle pulled back and stabbed again, this time attempting to strike it where her arm had been had she not moved just a moment sooner. "Hey, Cubic! Congrats on third! Welcome back." Beth backed up, giving Kyle space and hoping to bait him into making a larger attack, but he seemed content to continue attempting the one tactic that had come close to working for him. As she stepped back, he stepped forward, and only after planting both feet did he go for another stab. There was nothing Beth could do but step back, giving him even more space to maneuver, all the while becoming increasingly aware of how close her back was coming to the wall behind her. Fireflies! She needed to do something to throw him off balance and find a way to reset. She stepped to the side, forcing Kyle's next attack to take a horizontal arc to reach her, and as soon as she saw that blade coming, she swung her own blade. She heard the ting of metal hitting metal as the two blades made contact, and the serrated edge of Kyle's knife hit the smooth edge of hers. They stayed like that for about half a second, as Beth kept forcing Kyle's knife to the side, and with their knives still locked, she strafed around him until her back was no longer against the wall, placing the two of them on equal footing. This would never happen in a real knife fight, Beth thought to herself. She'd been saved only by the serrated edge of Kyle's knife. He grinned, apparently enjoying the moment. "Yes, Kyle, we're doing it just like in the movies. I know that when you think of a knife fight, you think of two swords or two Jedi facing each other with blades locked. But it's not supposed to go like this, and right now, you're about to lose the biggest edge you've had." She finally slid her knife out of the lock, releasing Kyle, who seemed completely oblivious to the fact that their footing had changed. He was so bad at this that he didn't even have an awareness for what it meant to have her with her back against the wall. But what Kyle lacked in brains, he made up for in physical size, and Beth was still left with the problem of how to get around his reach. "Hey, Alex, good afternoon." Kyle was doing too good of a job of controlling the space between them. She couldn't go straight for his chest like she had before. Not that she'd intended to strike him in the chest, she hadn't forgotten the rules. His reach made it equally difficult to go around him. "Hey, Sunny! Hello, hello! Good evening to Sunny!" Going over him was certainly out of the question, which meant that her opening had to be from underneath. A stab to the groin would certainly be against the spirit of the rules, but she might be able to get a good shot at his legs if she got close enough to the floor. But there was no way to get under his arms from a standing position. "Hello, Scott. Hello, hello." Sonia says just got back from work, now I'll be resting. Okie dokie. You are welcome to lurk. There was no way to get under his arms from a standing position. If she was going to attempt a leg strike, she would have to commit to it. She needed to create an opening. She feinted sideways towards the wall. Unlike Kyle's attempts at a feint, Beth's move to the left served the dual function of placing her weight in a perfect position to push off her left foot, moving right when Kyle moved left. She made as if to swing at him from the right, which prompted Kyle to stab in that direction. And with his body moving left and his arm moving right, the reach of his arm was effectively reduced. Reduced enough for her to slide under it? There was only one way to find out. She bent her knees, falling forward like a sprinter, leaning forward on the starting blocks. There it was. He was twisted to the right, reflexively trying to kick at her, allowing her to lunge forward and place her knife directly in the path of his swinging leg. Alex said, "It's funny, I was just resting and now I'll go to work." "That's a lie, I'm working tomorrow morning. I'll soon go to bed and then work." "Okay, Alex, you sleep well, okay?" He was grunting. Whoa. He let out a panicked yelp. "Not that soon? Okay, okay. I never know. No, he wasn't twisting. He was falling. And with the way her knife was pointed up, it was positioned to anchor itself directly into his belly if he fell on top of her. She reflexively tossed the knife aside, hearing it clatter to the floor as Kyle's weight came down on top of her. His tumbling knee struck her directly below the chest, and she felt herself falling back, her head falling to the floor, until the moment she felt the impact of the ground on the back of her head, and everything went black. Ooh. Uh-oh. Hopefully Beth is okay. Katie said, "I'm still working, finishing up soon though, too much work." Even though it's 5? Katie's working late. Okay, so we have something here, and we have something there. I think that's it. Teen transient. You started late because you had a 4 a.m. work call. 4 a.m. work call? Holy crap. You have to be on call that early? Do you wake up early in that case, or do you just stay up late? Cubic said this is all a bit exciting for a cafe game. Yeah, what kind of coffee shop has a fight club underneath? Like, necromancy aside, the fight club is strange enough on its own. Did I just die? No. We're reading, like, memories from other people that have been at the cafe. Mino says, what kind of cafe doesn't have a fight club underneath? Most of the ones I've been to, at least. A club, sure thing, Sunny. Alex said the memories are from other people that just died. I think it's mostly dead people, but I think some might be from living people too. Mino says, did you ever check? No, I guess I haven't checked the basements of any of the cafes. They don't usually let customers down there. Maybe we just don't know about the fight clubs? I mean, that is one of the rules, right? You're not supposed to tell people. So I guess it'd be pretty secretive, under lock and key. A teenage boy approached the counter, shoulders slumped forward, head down, eyes on the ground up until the moment he looked up to order a drink. He was old enough that he could have passed for a young adult with a better presentation, but the posture coupled with the oversized backpack he was wearing were a dead giveaway. Irrespective of his age, he was still just a kid. I don't know, I mean, that sounds like a lot of people in college. Can I get Coke? An order befitting of a kid. Hey, I like Coca-Cola, okay? Yeah, I think we can manage that, said Maddie. Think fast, said Che. Maddie turned around just in time to see an aluminum can hurtling towards her. She almost caught it. The can rolled back towards Che, who scooped it off the floor. He hesitated a moment before setting it on the counter. Do not open that can. Do not open it. No ice, right? Said Che. The boy nodded. How do you not have ice? Oh no, you gotta have ice. The boy nodded. No, or yeah, yes to no ice. Che cracked open the can and poured it into a waiting glass, which he then slid down the counter, pushing it gently enough that it came to a rest in front of the teenage boy. Ice water stuff down? I think I kind of like soda watered down a bit though. Is that weird? It makes it like a little less sweet. The boy grabbed the glass. Thanks, he said. He glanced around the room. If you're looking for a place to sit, there should be plenty of seats upstairs. Sunny says, personally, I don't like ice in my drinks. At some point, the ice dilutes into the drink and it makes it slightly icky. Huh. I guess I'm the weirdo here. I like ice. I put ice in pretty much everything. Alex says it gets too cold with ice. That I do have a problem with, because sometimes before my stream, I'll fill up my water bottle with a bunch of ice, and it'll be like ice cold, And then you guys will do a bunch of glub glubs and I'll get brain freezes, and I don't like brain freezes. But I like my water ice cold. It's very refreshing that way. The boy grabbed the glass. Thanks, he said, and he glanced around the room. If you're looking for a place to sit, there should be plenty of seats upstairs. The boy nodded and headed for the stairs, drink in hand. Plenty of seats down here too, said Maddie, turning to Che. Yeah, said Che. But I think upstairs is more Tuan's pace. What did you just call him? Tuan, said Che. People have names, you know. That's the problem with having regulars, said Maddie. People expect you to remember their names. But now I think about it, Tuan probably wouldn't mind finding out that you don't know his name. Can't have your name on Maddie's, blacklist if she doesn't know it. Should he be on my blacklist? Said Maddie. Nah, he's harmless, said Che. Maybe a bit susceptible to peer pressure. But I think that's why he comes here. Did you guys, is it a say-so day? No, I mean, maybe, I don't know. I try to definitely not curse at all on like Mondays when I do the Moe stuff, or whenever I do Moe streams. But just in general, I don't like doing like tons of curse words. I try and avoid it when I can. I think curse words are a treat. They are a sometimes food. If you use them too much, they just lose their impact, you know? Yeah, save them for special occasions. It's a cozier vibe to match the game. That's the thing though, Cubic, because this game was made in Australia, so they're real big on the cusses. Oh, hey, Jen. Hello, hello. Nah, he's harmless, said Che. Maybe a bit susceptible to peer pressure, but I think that's why he comes here. Kitty says that's why I use them often, to take away their power. Fair enough, fair enough. But I think that's why he comes here. To meet with peers? To meet with people who aren't his peers, said Che. How many glum teenagers do you see around here? Too many, said Maddie. Maybe not enough, said Che. Please tell me you don't actually mean that. Teenagers have the highest noise to spending ratio of any demographic. That's probably true. Teens usually don't have a lot of that cash money. Gems gave me a glub glub. Okay, one moment. I gotta be good about hydrating today because it's a yoga day. Not the glum one, said Che. And if I were a glum teenager trying to find my place in the world and trying to carve out an identity for myself, I can imagine a worse place to do it than right here. I agree with Che there. I agree, like, there's definitely worse places you could go as a kid than a coffee shop. Granted, the coffee shop has a fight club underneath it, so, I mean, it's a bit of a mixed bag there, but still probably not your worst option. Teenagers can go be glum somewhere else, said Maddie. Whatever happened to proper teenage delinquency? Be careful what you wish for, said Che. We've been mercifully delinquent-free for quite a while now. Proper teen delinquents don't loiter in coffee shops, said Maddie. They set things on fire, spray paint alleyways, and stay out past curfew. And they smoke outside of the convenience stores, and they crouch down on a cool lake. Have you guys ever tried to crouch like a delinquent? Do you guys know how delinquents crouch? Let me see if I can find a picture. It's like they do it in like anime and like Japanese movies and stuff. Delinquent crouch. Let me see. But it's different. Here we go. Okay, these are Overwatch people, but I'll put it in here real quick. It's an Overwatch fan art. Okay, see here? The guy with green hair? I don't know who that is. Who in Overwatch has green hair? I don't know. But anyway, yeah. The thing is, they crouch differently than we do in America. They put their heels on the ground, which requires a lot more muscle use. Did you guys know that? Like, if you haven't done it before, try it. It's actually pretty tough. It's actually something we'll do in my yoga sometimes. Doing like squats like that. The ninja robot boy before he died? Genji? He's dead? I'll be honest, I did not pay much attention to the lore in Overwatch. Sunny says, I don't like sitting on the ground because it's dirty, but I also don't like standing up for a long time, so I do that squat to basically do the sit without sitting. Huh. Well, anyway, it's a good way to build muscle. But delinquents always do it in like anime and movies, and I think it's so cool. That's the only Overwatch lore you know? Huh. Well, it's convenient that you knew one that could explain Green Hair Man for us. So Cubic and John said the Slav squat. Really? I've always seen it associated with like Japan, but maybe they do it everywhere except for the US. Maybe it's just Americans where we're like, we will squat the lazy way. Because when we squat, we squat with the front of our feet. We don't put our feet down all the way. Also, hey Dad! Dad said that squat is also done by most Southeast Asian folks. Yeah, that's where I've always seen it. Does the city have a curfew for minors? It should, said Maddie. Teens need to be able to break rules, and all the better if committing acts of vandalism at 11 p.m. gives them a 2-for-1. Maybe they should avoid delinquency and just stick to general mischief, said Che. Oh no, said Maddie. We already have plenty of mischief around here, ever since Ashley set up shop. Got it, said Che. Next time I see Tuan, I'll tell him he needs to be committing more crimes. What'll you do if he actually takes your advice? He won't, said Che. Peer pressure only works if it's from a peer. Someone of my age telling him it'll be cool if he starts swiping liquor won't do much to assure him that becoming a thief is a ticket to popularity and acceptance. So find another teenager to tell him. I'll keep my eye out, said Che. Let's see. Alex said, in the Overwatch trailer, there was a story of the dragon who killed his dragon brother and went on to be a sad lone dragon, but then his brother dragon appeared one day. Okay, so this is like Genji and Hanzo? Huh. Dad said I come and I go. Where did he come from? Where did he go? Where did he come from? Cat and I, Dad. Alex says, I tried squatting like that, but my butt is too big, it pulls me back. I have to get my heels up. Yeah. See, it's tough. Oh, the door opened. Billiards again? Maddie came up the stairs to see Thomas standing over a sobbing Brad. Thomas looked over at her, and she beckoned him over to the stairs. Excuse me, she said. Can you come downstairs for a moment? Thomas looked over at Brad, who was sitting on the floor, facing his hands. He nodded to Maddie and followed her downstairs, leaving Brad to sort himself out in solitude. Maddie slid behind the bar, and Thomas sat down in front of her. What are we doing here? Said Thomas. Getting you away from him, said Maddie. I think he needs a few moments alone to get it all out. Some people like to cry with others, and others like to cry alone. He doesn't strike me as the kind of person who likes to cry in front of others. I'm an ugly crier. I don't like crying in front of people. Alright, said Thomas. Can I get you another beer? Said Maddie. I think I've had enough for one night. What did you tell him? Do you need to know? No, but I think you're struggling to figure it out yourself, and I think you might have an easier time understanding it if you tried to explain it to someone. I'm the only one here, so she shrugged. You can think inside your own head, or you can think out loud. If you want the latter, I've got ears. Thomas leaned forward, placing both elbows on the counter. I think I'll have that beer, actually. You got it, said Maddie. What do you think I said to him? Said Thomas. Are you asking me to guess? Yep. I'm guessing that he's a kid who carries around a lot of painful truths, said Maddie. I'm guessing you told him a truth that turned out to be painful. I think you may be right. I think maybe I tell the truth too often. I've got nothing against the truth in principle, but not all truths have to be told. This is something that was difficult for me to learn as a cryptid. Because, like, you're a cryptid, right? And you're just starting to learn about human society. And the humans tell you lying is bad. So you're like, okay, I won't lie. But The humans don't tell you that sometimes you're supposed to lie. Like, you're expected to lie sometimes. Like, if someone gets a haircut and it looks bad, you're supposed to say it looks good if they ask. But they didn't tell me that. They need to be more clear about these things. Do you suppose I ought to make up a story for him? I don't exactly understand what's going on between you two, but he obviously cares what you think of him. He wants to impress you, but I think a false compliment would sting even worse. So what do you think I should do? The kid thinks I'm a damn hero or something. I think sometimes it's okay to give people what they want, and not necessarily what you think they need. I get the impression that this would be his last chance to get that from you too. You may be right, said Thomas, but both the truth and lies can hurt people. They can also build people up, making them feel better. When you tell a lie, you're the one that has control. You can lie to hurt people, or you can lie to help them. Sometimes you hurt people without meaning to, but no matter how it turns out, it's on you. He sighed. The truth isn't like that. You don't get to decide what the truth is. You can only say it. And whether it hurts someone or helps someone, well, that's up to them. Sometimes we hide the truth because we think it hurts. So which is it? Thomas shook his head. Maybe it's neither. Maddie poured Thomas another Guinness. Lies of omission are lies too. Sometimes concealing the truth is just as simple as saying nothing. Do you think you can hurt someone by staying silent? Maddie set the glass down in front of Thomas. Do you think the truth hurts more? Thomas studied the drink in front of him. I guess there's only one way to find out. He got up from the bar, leaving the glass of beer undisturbed as he walked upstairs. Brad's eyes were still red when he saw Thomas walking up. He tried to focus on the pool table in front of him, doing his best to ignore the old man. It worked until Thomas put a hand on Brad's shoulder. Brad, do you know what the difference between us is? Brad shook his head. You played for glory. I played for money. Thomas paused. You know how we're similar? Brad shook his head again. Neither of us played to win. I thought you said you were in it for the money, said Brad. Yes, said Thomas, but there are lots of ways to make money playing pool. He leaned against the table. I made my career on being predictable. There's a lot of money to be made if you can predict the outcome of events that seem like they're up to chance, especially when you're the one who controls the outcome. Wait, like gambling? Is he saying he rigged matches? Brad looked at Thomas with confusion. Every single year I made the finals, I was favored to win. Betting odds were in my favor. I lost every time. Do you think that I lost every one of those games because of nerves? He shook his head. I played pool for less than 10 years, but I managed to make enough money in those few short years to retire. Do the math, kid. That money didn't come from tournament earnings. Thomas! My God. Brad let out a low whistle and looked at the famous Thomas Walsh with new eyes. You're not the man you think I am. Brad shook his head. I don't believe it. The old man turned away from him, almost like he was afraid to look Brad in the eye when he said it. Like I said, I have no regrets. I played for money, and as it turned out, that was the right decision for me. But for you? I can't imagine anything better than playing for glory. You're still a great pool player, said Brad. No one can take that away from you. And you're a champ, said Thomas. That's something I don't have. You play from the heart. Well, maybe if I'd done the same, I'd have a title to my name as well. Thomas leaned against the table and nearly collapsed onto the floor. Brad caught him. The old man huffed a bit as he struggled to his feet. Plus, you've been drinking those fake beers all night. Maybe I ought to take a page from your playbook next time. Had enough pool from one night? Said Brad. Yep, said Thomas. As they walked down the stairs, Thomas stumbled on the bottom step and Brad caught him. Feeling okay, old man? I won't be driving home tonight, that's for sure, said Thomas. Brad chuckled and the two of them walked out of the building. On the bridge out of the terminal, Brad looked at the old man, who barely seemed able to support his own weight. There was so little left of him, and yet the man could play. You're still an ace, said Brad. You don't keep up that level of skill without a lot of practice. Thomas said nothing. You kept on playing even if you retired. You say you didn't play from the heart? Bullcrap. Thomas just smiled at him through weary eyes. At the end of the bridge, Brad paused at the threshold. I guess this is the end, said Brad. I guess so, said Thomas. Alright, here's the thing. They have not explicitly said which of them is dead. They have implied that one is alive and one is dead. My theory has been that Brad is the dead one, even though he's the younger one. They exited the terminal, and moments later, only one man remained standing outside as the other dissipated from existence, gone to meet whatever awaited him after death. Thomas raised an arm. Taxi! I knew it! Oh my god, I knew it! I knew it! It was the young feller that was the ghost. Ah, I called it. This is why I gotta play some more detective games, guys. This cryptid was meant to be a private eye. Is there anything that we have to investigate? There's the basement. Thinking about alchemy the wrong way. How do I know which things I've already looked at? Is there a way to tell? Lamington recipe. Authentic Australian lamingtons. Ingredients: 200 grams butter, 1 cup of castor sugar, 5 milliliters vanilla extract, 3 Malifaux eggs. Off for now, have fun, Fangy. Okay, I will, Alex. Thank you for dropping by. You sleep well. 500 grams of self-raising flour sifted, half a cup milk, 2 cups of shredded coconut. Wait, where's the chocolate? I guess it's just the icing. 4 teaspoons of sugar, mixed and dissolved in water. A quarter cup cocoa powder, 100 grams butter, half cup water. You'll also need a convection oven, a lamington pan, 3 centimeters deep, 20 by 30 centimeters base, baking paper, an electric mixer, a lamington. What the heck is a lamington? Because I thought the lamington was the cookie. Is a lamington something else? Too? It is a mystery. Possible substitutions. Chicken eggs can be used in place of Malifaux eggs. If electricity is not available, whale oil mixtures can be used instead. It is strongly hypothesized that a homunculus made with lamington DNA. What do you mean a lamington DNA? That makes it sound like lamingtons are animals. Lamington animal. What is a lamington? A homunculus made with lamington DNA could be used in lieu of an actual lamington, but no confirmed tests have been confirmed, due to the lack of success in producing actual homunculi, especially homunculi capable of baking. Instructions: grease the lamington pan, line with baking paper. Use electric mixer, beat butter, vanilla, and sugar until airy. Add eggs to the mixture. Have your lamington stir flour into the mixture and add milk. Have lamington pour into pan and smooth. At this point, you may dismiss your lamington. They are no longer needed. It makes it sound like they're like a fairy or a demon or something that you summon. Bake for 30 minutes. Make the icing by boiling water and combining the ingredients. Beat until smooth. Apply icing coating, 1 mm thick, and sprinkle coconut. Repeat until all icing and coconut have been used. Note that it's not necessary to have a lamington perform this step. Tips for procuring a lamington. Any recently departed lamington who comes into contact with a 40-60 mixture of vanilla and coconut will begin to glow red. Note that the 30-70 vanilla coconut mixture will cause them to glow green. The 30-70 mixture can be used in case of potential lamingtons who have particularly flushed cheeks or are otherwise difficult to identify by a red glow. But this is generally discouraged as the effects can persist for several hours and can often be unsettling to guests. Only around 20% of people who claim to be lamingtons have actual lamington ancestry, hence the need to test potential candidates. Be particularly skeptical of anyone who claims to be directly descended from either a lord or leading lamington. Lamington pretenders uniformly claim to be descended from a former lord. leading to the overwhelming of these claimants being false positives. Most Lamingtons were agricultural workers, so anyone claiming to be descended from a farmer of Lamington is more likely to be credible, but should still be tested to verify authenticity. Thanks for the Glub Glub, Sunny! Do not bother testing anyone claiming to be descended from the 3rd Baron of Lamington, as Victor Alexander Brisbane William Cochrane Bailey died childless. Gluten-free options? Having a Lamington stir self-raising flour into the mixture is critical to the synthesis process, and it will not work with a non-gluten alternative. That face with no gluten-free option. Okay, we already did that one. Should we check in the basement? I don't understand if there could be new stuff down here. So there's a Lamington National Park. There's also a conservation village called Lamington in Scotland? Huh. Wandering a Spirit. I feel like that's the one we already read. Beth 1. Okay, yeah, so I don't think these are new at all. Ah, ferocious roar. Alrighty. Onward. Continue. Oh. Day 2, 8:15 p.m. outside the terminal. Gah. I don't have the energy for this. Maddie's been running on empty for several days now. Especially with everyone watching me. I hope he packed enough conductors. My order form was pretty vague. I shouldn't be worrying about the conductors when I'm not even sure I can pull this whole thing off without some sort of major screw-up happening. Supplier knew what I wanted the conductors for anyway, so he should have packed enough. A good supplier knows enough about their clients to anticipate their needs. There's a certain amount of nosiness that is polite, after all. And he knows I've got Ashley helping me. Helping you with what, Madeline? Screw off, Ned. Rude. You should respect your elders, you know. Ned is not a young man, even by the standards of some immortals. God, listen to you. The council made you soft, didn't it? Oh, respect your elders. Follow all of our totally arbitrary rules, or we'll make up some cheap reason to destroy your business. My name's Ned, and I love rules. You done? Yep. Cool. You sound wounded. A steel chestplate can save you from a bleeding heart, but not a bruised ego. You should be nicer. Wow, sick comeback. What was it that guy you killed said? Oh Christ, I am shot. Oh no, woe is me. Just a little throwback humor for ya. Did I strike a nerve? Did I just what? Maddie. When Ned spoke next, it was in a deep, dark cadence, steeped in guilt and self-loathing. If Maddie had been able to see his eyes, she would have faced a withering glare. We're rapidly reaching a point of no return. I can no longer promise to shield you from the consequences of your actions. What you did just there, quoting one of my victim's dying words at me, that was low. Even for you. Frankly, I'm disgusted. You dare to poke at my guilt? You dare? Let's talk about guilt, shall we? I don't suppose you might have anything weighing on your conscience right now, would you? As I thought. They may still weigh heavily on me, but I am absolved of my sins. Some moral debts take a lifetime to work off. Ned's had more than a few lifetimes. I've had 100 years to process that. And to redeem myself through my actions. You? Your sins are fresh. They're landmarks on your soul, deep cuts in your aura. Swallow your arrogance, novice. I know what you did. Natty's sins weigh heavily on Ned's mind. They weigh even heavier on hers. And I can't wait to see how you plan to make this right. Episode 5. Rainy Moods. Day 2, 8:30 p.m., the terminal. Tuan. Age 16. He thinks he's smart. He is not antisocial, just shy. He read a bunch of Wikipedia articles on optometry and considers himself somewhat of an expert. Hannah. Age 16. She knows she's too smart for her own good. Her hobbies are people-watching, self-indulgent teenage angst, taking advantage of the fact that she's too smart for her own good. So, I'm not sure that alcohol actually makes you feel anything. In fact, going by its chemical properties, I'd say it's the opposite. Shut up, dork, we're planning a heist. Metaphysical debates about alcohol can come after. But this isn't metaphysics. I'm just talking about simple chemical interactions with our brains. Tuan is a guy who has the look of someone who knows more about chemical interaction than human interaction. Please take the energy you're putting into pedantry and redirect it towards the plan. Hannah's too busy with physical shenanigans to have time for verbal shenanigans. The plan? The plan. What's the plan? I was thinking I could just reach over the bar and grab the first bottle I see. Sounds risky. Very chaotic neutral. And what's your alignment then? This is Ned. This is actually interesting. Okay, so... If we're thinking chaotic is down here, and lawful's up here, I don't know what the usual arrangement is. I mean, over here would be true neutral. That would be Kishan. This is Ned. So this is probably lawful, right? He's very lawful. So lawful here, chaotic over here. That makes sense. So Ned is lawful neutral. Kishan is neutral neutral. I don't know who this person is yet. Ashley is chaotic evil? Or chaotic good? This is Maddie. Maddie is neutral good or neutral evil. I think this is Che up here? One of these two? I don't know who these two people are. I'm gonna screenshot this for when I figure out who the other people are. Oh boy, 3 AM. Hey JD! Hello! I was worried about you. I was like, uh-oh. JD hasn't shown up. I'm wondering if he's gonna lose his streak today. Neutral good? Uh-huh. Oh, I see. Oh, okay. Oh, so that was Hannah on the right. And then, what's his name? Juan? Was here. I'd say I was lawful neutral, but that's the coward's option. Yeah. But getting back to the plan. Oh. Using your own pedantry to distract you was absolutely part of the plan. Wow, so little faith in me? Gotta minimize the liabilities here. Hannah's still learning to trust this guy. He doesn't have the look of an interloper, but you can never be too safe. You're out here playing checkers while I'm playing 6-dimensional upside-down laser chess. Shoot. I've galaxy brained this, and now I'm holding the fruits of my labor. Hey Dahlia! Good morning! Don't you mean our labor? If you insist. Give me a closer look at that. What sort of fruit did we pluck from the booze tree? Really stretching that metaphor out, huh? Yep. I don't recognize the language on this label. Oh no. Is that the souls? What? Let me look. What the hell? I don't recognize it either. Maybe it's a cipher. A cider is made from fermented apple juice. A cipher is made from fermented word juice. I like that. Who'd make you read a cipher just to know what you're drinking? A sadist. Oh, we could ask Maddie what Maddie what it is. She's a sadist, right? What do you call someone who enjoys the empathic pain they feel from hurting others? Yeah, that idea sounds great. Let's go find her apart from the fact that we specifically nicked it from her. Oh, right. You're meant to be the lawful one here, dude. We agreed on neutral good. Me not challenging your assertion does not make it an agreement. Regardless. Wait, hold on. I sense a dark presence. Do you feel it? No, I don't feel anything particularly spooky in the air. Yeah, me neither. Hello, children. I see you've stooped to petty thievery. Some of the bottles on the shelf are old enough that swiping them would be an act of grand theft. Not this one, however. Alas, sprung. Can't believe my heist career's over so quickly. Aw, don't give up on your dreams, kid. Speaking of, you know what happens when you drink this. I was assuming some sort of drunkenness. Does it make your teeth fall out? Well, last time I had a shot of this, I woke up in Adelaide. Wow. So the result was 700 kilometers worth of drunkenness and bad decisions. But I woke up 6 hours before I took the shot. Had to drive a rented car back and explain to Che why I disappeared without a trace, and somehow accidentally time traveled. Holy crap, can we give it a try? God, no. You ever heard of liquor licensing laws? I'd end up in jail. I think it'd be an excellent formative experience. Yeah, if you're not perpetuating teen drinking culture, you're a loser. Somehow, I remain unconvinced by your passionate arguments. Well, we tried. You kids have way too much time on your hands, you know that? Better than not having enough, right? I'm utilizing my time to practice my skills. It's not wasted. Well, the non-existent industry sector that relies solely on the skill of reaching over bars and stealing bottles of enchanted booze is gonna be lucky to have you. Oh, that's so validating, thanks! Can I get you two a coffee or anything? Hot chocolate? I'm kinda busy tonight, but I'm hoping that bribing you with free drinks will stop you from stealing my stuff. I'll take a free drink. I feel guilty taking one since it was all Swan's idea. Hey! But I'll graciously accept your offer. Hey Mogata! Hello, good evening! Neat, what'll it be? Hot chocolates for both of us? Hot chocolates for both of us. Alrighty, 2 hot chocolates coming up. Seriously, don't steal anything else when my back's turned, or I'll feed you to a spite elemental. Is that chai for me? Ariel says she wanted a chai too. I actually have a little bit of a chai left over from this morning that I'm just finishing now. Okay, now it's all gone. I wonder. Spite elemental. Maybe it's a metaphor. Is she saying that she'll eat us? Is she the spite elemental? Oh no. Maybe the real spite elementals were the friends we made along the way. I hate this. Fair. Who dis? New person, they're wearing high heels. Oh, new character? So this would be the one that was in the lawful good spot, I think. Maybe? They were either lawful good or lawful evil. Samantha, age 32. American? Visiting Melbourne for work. Devastatingly patient. Trust me, you kids don't want to meet a spite elemental. Have you? Yep. Got pretty close to not making it out alive. I guess you're in a fairly exciting line of work then. This woman's line of work might seem intriguing to someone looking in from the outside, but to her, it's all business. It gets that way sometimes. But spite elementals aren't exciting. They're terrifying. They suck all the air out of a room and make the world ache. And they don't die easy. Huh. That's kind of metal. You sure do need... Oh. You sure do need brass balls to face one down, that's for sure. And a steely gaze? What? 'Cause steel is a metal, and I said it was metal, and then you mentioned brass balls, so... Hannah, please back me up. Nope. You brought this on yourself, mate. No. Nah, she's totally right. What's going on here? You bullying my customers, Samantha? Of course not. Good, because that's my job. You two should go enjoy the evening. There's a nice breeze blowing. I like these kiddos. You remembered my name. That's sweet. Sweet isn't a word that people often use to describe Maddie. That's the kind of remark that says more about the person who's talking than the person they're talking about. Of course I did. You're interesting. Doesn't that describe everyone who walks through your doors, though? Absolutely not. Especially not in the way that you are. Some people would take offense at that. Your boss, must be very different to mine. Well, my old boss, I guess. I'm my own boss now, actually. Maddie thinks she can make it all on her own. She just might turn out to be right. Apologies. Your approach to hospitality work is very different from what I'm used to, is what I'm trying to say. Figures. Where do you work? Just some dive bar overseas. Wretched hive of scum and villainy. That's a Star Wars reference. The owner would never shut up about treating every client like royalty. Sounds like a pain in the butt if you ask me. I'm not asking actually, but I appreciate the sentiment nonetheless. So, can I get you anything? Surprise me. You'd like me to just pick you something? Yeah. Do you mind if I ask you a couple questions? Are they related to the drink? Yep. Shoot. Okay. What's your favorite white wine? You're not making me a wine cocktail, are you? No. I'm partial to a glass of Marseille every now and then. I don't know wine names. I'm probably gonna pronounce stuff wrong. Fancy. Next question. Have you ever read a star chart? Like in astrology? No. Why? I don't put any stock in mysticism. Hey, this place isn't mystical. To some people, this place seems otherworldly. For others, this is just the world they live in. It's built out of cold, hard facts. I just don't know them all yet. Alright, fair enough. Last question. You're walking in the shallows of an ocean that seems to go into the distance forever. You can't see any land aside from the sand under your feet. Whenever you step forward, the sand sinks just a little bit. As far as you can see, there's no way to escape. Drowning is the only possible outcome. What do you do? Wow. I feel like you're about to pull out a Voight-Kampff machine or something. Oh, is that a Blade Runner? Voight-Kampff. Ah! The Voight-Kampff test was a test used by LAPD's Blade Runners. I got it right! I know some things. I am a somewhat cultured cryptid. On occasion. Yeah, Jem says a Voight-Kampff test is a way to detect replicants. Yay! It's obviously some sort of test. I run, I swim, I dive when I can. And if I eventually drown, so be it. There's nowhere else to go, and no point in sitting and waiting for starvation, or sharks, or someone to save me. I have to take action. Interesting. So, what's the verdict? Samantha didn't get a response. Maddie's eyes had glazed over as soon as she'd answered the last question, and now she stood perfectly still, gazing intensely at the rows and rows of dusty bottles lining dustier shelves. Her lips moved, but no words came out. As Samantha watched, a flask of red liquid twitched, seemingly of its own accord. Maddie craned her neck up at it and scowled. In response, a smaller bottle, next to the first, and surely only big enough to hold a few drops of something, began to glow. Her scowl shifted to a wry smile. Please, you don't need to open anything new on my account. Maddie's cool. Even if she's neutral evil. Gotcha. Your answers were interesting. Coming from some people, that might sound like a non-committal remark, but coming out of Maddie, it might just be the most effusive praise you ever get. So were your questions. I'm still having a little trouble figuring out how they relate to each other, though. Is that important? I tried to maintain a vague hope that maybe, one day, things might make sense. And until then? I just try to go with the flow, of course. Sorry for trying to psychoanalyze you there. Try? Do you think you failed? No. What's the verdict, then? Well, for one, you tend to accept things as you see them. You don't try to interpret things based off of unrelated frameworks or thought patterns. That said, you do try and make sense of the connections between things when you can. Maddie's pretty sure she has all the pieces. She's found that putting all the pieces together requires a bit more effort. But it's no big deal to you if you don't. You just marked it as an unknown variable and move on. And that reads to me as an intensely pragmatic approach. Would you agree? I suppose. You're the sort who doesn't buy drinks to enjoy them. You buy them as a camouflage. If your experience will pretend to be something you're not in order to blend in, you might develop a talent for recognizing when others are trying to do the same. To hide your face behind. To project a veneer of being untouchable while you watch. Watch what? Everything, I suppose. You take everything in the same way I do. So you're saying that I'm attentive, but that I don't worry about instantly understanding how things are interconnected. Because you're confident that eventually you'll understand it anyway. How do you figure that? You've been watching my hands this whole time. Is that weird? To watch an attractive bartender mixing a very fancy-looking cocktail? To appreciate a craft? No. But given just how interested you are in what my hands are doing, I'd wager that you've got some experience in my field. So, are you just really bad at picking up on when you're being flirted with, or... Oh, that was her, okay. It's fine, sweetie. In fact, it's pretty cute. I meant in alchemy. The field of alchemy. Uh-huh. I'm sure you're very accomplished in alchemy. Just take the drink. Shoot, this is really good. Yeah? Too good to ignore, yeah. It's smoky but bittersweet. It's the contrast with the bitters that really make you appreciate the sweetness. Or is it the other way around? And almost makes me feel like I'm reaching the end of something. Like I've got a lump in my throat from saying goodbye, but I can't quite tap into that feeling. Like, what did you even put in this? Mezcal, artichoke bitters, gold heart bitters, and a slice of gorilla lime. Gorilla lime? That can't be a real thing. It's just hard to acquire. Call it that because if you bite into one, it feels like you got punched by a gorilla. Physically? Nope, emotionally. Ah, makes sense. I am not a wizard. Prove it. Arg. That guy, the boss you mentioned. Yeah. He good to you? I'm sorry? Does he treat you well? Yeah. To a fault, actually, far past the point where it's rational for him to still be nice to me. No one's ever accused old Che of being rational. That doesn't stop him from trying to be the voice of reason. Good. Actually, I'm sorry, that reminds me, I have to dash. Got some setup work for a project to finish before the sun comes up. Maddie rarely engages in careless shenanigans, so when she's up to something, you'd best be on your guard. But without you here, who will enable my lay in alcoholism? You can just reach over the bar and grab the gin. Tonic's in the bar fridge. You're a wizard, Maddie. Will do. Come back soon, though. Hey, Banana! Back with the Necrobarista? We are! We sure are. Come back soon, though. I'd love to discuss alchemy with you some more. Catch you later. Wait, one last thing. What was the meaning behind the question about what wine I like? Oh, I was just curious. That's the last one, I reckon. Does it have the magic caps in it? I think so? You can just call them caps, you know. No cap? But how are you doing today, Banana and Dahlia and everybody? How's everyone doing? They're built for something different. I refuse to use non-specific language. Yeah, they're in here. Okay, what about the, thing? You'll have to be a little more... Oh, you know. The thing. Sparky thing. Ashley likes having friends who can understand her, even when she fails to be specific. Electric. Sweetie, how long have you been awake? It's better for you if you don't know, I think. Do you mean the voltage regulator? That's the one. Good job. It's in one of the other boxes. I didn't think we need another one, though. Are you kidding? The last one literally melted. It's a good thing I have an extremely sick metal arm, otherwise I would have been badly injured. Ashley's prosthetic arm is a point of pride. She wouldn't trade it for anything, not even the arm that it replaced. Yeah, thank goodness. Jem says not bad working overtime like usual. Are you making good overtime cash monies at least? Is there anything missing? I shall check. Need some espresso? I think I will literally die if I have any more. Hey, that's really mature of you. Nice job. Yeah, whatever. You can get me some chocolate if you want. Don't tell Ashley that chocolate has trace amounts of caffeine. At least it's not more espresso. No? Grr. You should get extra money if you're working overtime. I'll fight your boss, Jem. Let me at him. I'll give him the old what for. Sure thing, be back in a moment. Is she up to something? Oh, hey dude, where you been? Hey, just chillin'. Not much to do when you're waiting to die. Hey, come on, Cooper. I know you're hiding down there somewhere. Hold this, will ya? Did Ned really say that? Yeah. Do you believe it? I'm not sure. Well, it's not a lie. The most dangerous lies are the lies we tell ourselves. But it's not the whole truth either. And I don't quite have the time to untangle it for you. Maddie's the sort of person to weave tangled webs without too much consideration for who's going to have to untangle them. I've got a hungry teenager downstairs and a summoning ritual to complete. Ah, she's part of this too? Don't you take that judgy tone with me. Hey, far be it from me to moralize at you. Getting a lot of that these days, mate. I'm just trying to keep everyone happy. Tough gig. I'll say. Alright now, if you can solder those 2 wires. No, not those ones. Bloody hell. Who programmed you? Bet she's a jerk. Incredibly intelligent, but a very bad programmer. Ashley's learned how to program exactly the minimum amount she needs to, and not 1 iota more. You're talking about yourself, right? Wah! Wow, you're really out of it, huh? Where'd you even pull this from? Leg holster. You weren't wearing a leg holster. Arm holster. Your prosthetic? It holds 6 million knives. Don't question me on this. I'm the expert here. Hey, need a hand? Dude, you should check yourself before you wreck yourself. No, that's not what I meant. Oh. Yeah, I guess you can help. Before I ask what you need, what are you even doing? Maddie mentioned a summoning circle? Something like that. You ever wanted to live forever? I'd trade that for just having a second chance, honestly. Grab me that box, please. You can't just leave that hanging like that. Watch me. And while you watch me... Wait, I think I missed something. Well... Okay, there we go. And while you watch me leave you hanging, you can get that box. Thank you. Yeah, so, this is really heavy. What's even in here? 100 meters of heavy gauge copper cable. In a basement full of magical items, this copper wire might be the thing most in danger of being stolen. It's easier to flip, at least. A bunch of capacitors that I'm gonna wire together soon, and some various bits and bobs. That would definitely explain the weight. Oh, and there's also a bunch of clamps. So what do you need? Validation. Validation, chocolate, coffee, a school system that doesn't punish me for having weird and niche interests. I meant more, communism. Asher's a real party girl. I don't think I can get you communism, sorry. And isn't Maddie already getting you chocolate? You're a terrible comrade, Kishan. If I wasn't close to hitting the LD50 of caffeine, I'd ask, I wonder what LD50 means. LD50. I'd ask you for some coffee, so all you can do right now is give me that sweet validation. Okay. Your real thumbs up? Good human. I don't know what sort of validation you want here. I feel like I'm stuck in a loop of trying things that are inevitably going to fail, and I don't know how much of it is my fault for not being good enough at a monumentally difficult task. I'm used to being effortlessly good at things, but I feel like my brain is full of bees on this one. And can I deal with failure? I don't think I can. I'm not equipped for failure. My entire perception of myself is that I'm good at things. I'm gifted and talented, and incredibly afraid that I'm going to let people down at a vital moment. This is that vital moment. But I just sit here, paralyzed. And I rationally know that a lot of this pressure is just me being hard on myself. But Maddie and I, we tried this already, and we failed pretty bad. It was a disaster. For Ashley of all people to call something a disaster, it must have been a real catastrophe. Oh, Jem says LD50 is a dose of a substance that's lethal to 50% of the population. Oh. I can't understate how badly it turned out. So even with all the prep I'm doing, is this enough? Did we learn enough to do it properly? Numbers and formulas and hard science are good, but I can't shake this feeling that I'm going to screw it up for everyone. And I'm so afraid of letting Maddie down. There are a few things we fear more than disappointing the people we love most. That's heavy as heck, mate. You reckon? Fully, yeah. I don't know what to say to that, except that I don't think Maddie would ever feel let down by you. I know I've only been here for like 2 days, but her and Chase seem to really care about you. And I'm sure that extends to accepting you for who you are, limitations and all. Though honestly, I think you give off a pretty strong vibe of not giving a crap about your limitations. Or that you indiscriminately power through them with some sort of raw caffeine-fueled fury. Anyway, you're immensely powerful, and I'm terrified of you. Fair enough. I was never really super smart or gifted or anything. Sometimes the people who think they're not gifted were just never made aware of their gifts. I just floated through school and work and never focused on much except having a good time. I can definitely imagine the sort of pressure you'd have on you, though, especially given how big this task is. Yeah. So while I can't say for sure this is going to be easy or even successful, in the terminal, it can feel like nothing is easy. Even Sunday mornings come with their own sets of trials and tribulations. I do think it's important that you work on giving yourself a break from the weight of your own expectations. But it's not an easy thing, I'm sure. But my boyfriend is similar. He's very hard on himself when he feels like he's letting himself down. So it doesn't go away? I don't think so. I think it just gets easier to deal with as you learn to be more empathetic to yourself. Self-forgiveness and all that. It's often hardest to forgive someone when you're aware of all of their own flaws. It definitely took him a good few years to even begin to be able to deal with his self-imposed shame. I guess I can try that? You can try that, or you continue feeling super bad about yourself all the time. I mean, when you put it like that, right? I hate how rational you sound. I know, I'm disgusted at myself. Sup, nerds? What's going on in this thread? What? You're suddenly in a good mood. I maybe ate some of your chocolate. Maybe Maddie ate some chocolate. Maybe grass is green. Oh, I swear to God, if there isn't any left. Yes, we've been over this before. You'll comprehensively murderize me. You'd hate it if someone failed to be comprehensive when they went about murderizing you. I've seen some incomplete murderizing attempts, and they aren't pretty. Don't worry, I only ate a little bit. Excellent. Is this enchanted chocolate or just normal chocolate? What about unenchanted dark chocolate? Where does that fall on the normal-abnormal chocolate spectrum? Does he deserve to know? I don't know. I kinda like the mystery. It's completely normal chocolate, isn't it? Maybe. Maybe not. Can I have some then? Come on, you owe me. For what? Helping you set up all this. Oh yeah, that's fair. He gets 1 block. This is totally normal chocolate. Yeah. Did you expect it to not be that? Well, you implied. We never implied. You came up with that one on your own. Darn it. Alright, I'm bored. Oh, thank you for the glub glub, Sunny. Don't you run off on me, miss. This Magic bank isn't even half done. I'll do it later. For now, I'm gonna take a nap under that table. If anyone disturbs me, come on. You'll be happy? Confused. Ticklish. Extra hungry. I will... mention me in your diary? Maddie doesn't keep a diary. All those thoughts and memories just stay cooped up in her head. One day she's gonna run out of space or sanity. I will exact terrible revenge on both of you later. Geez, that phrase definitely doesn't start with an M. Ugh, bye. She just rolls away. I'm not being too hard on her, am I? You? Nah, she thinks you're great. Good. I could probably stand to give her a break, though. There are a few people who appreciate a break more than Ashley, especially when it's a break from Maddie. I mean, I'm expecting a lot from her right now. She does seem a little overloaded. Frick. But she'd tell me if things were too much, right? I'm dead! Oh no. Good thing it's a game about necromancy. I don't know. It seems like she idolizes you. Idolatry is a sin, isn't it? It can't be healthy behavior. I reckon she'd pretty happily burn herself out for you, you know? Yay, thanks, Sunny! I'm back, good as new! I just need her for the next 4 or 5 hours. Then everything will be okay. Is that when you're planning on performing the ritual? This thing? Yeah. What's it for anyway? Conduit ritual. Super forbidden magic. Oh, cool. Are you actually cool with this, or... Not hugely, actually. Why is that? Well, you know, I was talking to Ned earlier and... Actually, don't worry about it. It's fine, I don't care. What's it do? You know how I took a couple hours from you down here? Vividly. This is just a bigger scale version of that spell. Higher capacity. Who are you taking hours from? Nobody. Don't worry, bud, you're at a deficit already. When you get deep enough into the hole, you kind of stop worrying about climbing out of it and just accept your fate. I can't touch you. Right, okay. So even if you're lying right now, shouldn't you have taken enough to pay off your debt multiple times at this point? Huh, the hours weren't for that. Or maybe it just felt like hours. It can be hard to judge time when you're wandering around aimlessly. Then what the hell did you do with them then? Where'd they go? For our research, we use the following materials. Wire of copper, heavily drawn. Jasmine chalk, not Dover. Sustained electric supply of at least 20 volts. Car battery? Capacitors composed of... Need better durability. However, we believe extra components are required. Our conduit's properties varied with the layout of our summoning circle, and despite the departure of our test subject during our rituals, or during our trials, we were able to ascertain a number of efficiency-oriented refinements. Certain kinds of optimization require a real dedication to craft. Sunny says, I'm gonna go take a small nap. We'll leave a lurk though. Thank you for lurking, Sunny. Enjoy your nap. As well as the absolute necessity of a living but non-sentient vessel to act as a so-called storage container. More testing is required, though obtaining a willing subject for future methodology evaluations without attracting the attention of the council will be difficult to say the least. I stored them. All those hours are in this tree. We still don't quite know what Maddie's working towards. Like, are they trying to bring a specific person back? What are they up to? We don't know. We just don't know. I miss eating. Why? What was your diet like? I remember. Sushi. Sushi? I thought you said you were a crab. What, you think crabs aren't dexterous enough to make sushi? Unquestionably, yes. What is this sushi? It's delicious is what it is. Rice and fish and seaweed. Humans eat it. And crabs. I just don't know where a crab would find rice, or a way to make good sushi. I also ate garbage. Yes, I also ate garbage on occasion. Unbelievable, you two. Unbelievable. Garbage is good for the soul. Garbage is garbage. It's in the name. What did you eat when you were alive, then? Grass. Just normal grass. Boring. And tree roots sometimes. Tree roots? There are tree roots here, yes? Yeah, there are. Why don't you chomp on them? Well, I'm not hungry. We don't eat. And also, more importantly, they are powerfully magical. Maddie needs them. If we damage things that Maddie needs, then Ashley will be disappointed in us. A suboptimal state of affairs. I can feel the power in them too. However, I do not feel compelled to chomp on them. What a strange thought. Love to chomp. Chomp sushi. Chomp sandwiches. Chomp garbage. You're so weird. These robots like used to have animal souls or something, it seemed like. I think the one's a rabbit. Make your creator proud. You can now speak to Samantha to experience the side story Devil's Den. Come on, I want to show you something. For a moment, Tuan thought of grabbing Hannah by the hand to lead her, but he couldn't bring himself to do it. Something about the idea of holding her hand seemed simultaneously too childish and too intimate for him to try, this early in the night. Oh, where are you taking me? Said Hannah. Someplace cool, said Tuan. He located a ladder leading down from the lower level and gestured to it. After you. And now you're asking me to be the first one to jump into the gaping maw of whatever monsters might be lurking down there. Hannah shook her head ruefully. Where have all the gentlemen gone? Tuan smirked. I think a gentleman might say ladies first. And I think a lady might say, I'll stand quietly behind while you deal with this street ruffian. Go ahead, barrel face first into danger. I'll follow behind. Well, said Tuan, technically I'm going feet first. You know, going down vertically and all that. My head is actually the last part of me that will be arriving on the lower level. Are we going to keep standing here bantering, or are you going to show me whatever's down there? Said Hannah. You seemed enthused by the idea only a few moments ago. I guess I just got distracted by your cattiness. Hannah got on the ladder on top of Tuan. Don't look up. Trust me, you won't get the show you're expecting if you do. Fine. Tuan descended the ladder, keeping his gaze decidedly horizontal. Upon arriving on the level below, he studied his feet until Hannah landed beside him. Hannah joined him in studying his feet. Oh, please don't tell me you're one of those freaks who's obsessed with his sneakers. Nah, said Tuan. Just the kind who finds the sight of his own shoelaces a safe distraction from whatever he's trying to avoid looking at. Oh, good, said Hannah. Did you hear about that brawl in Darwin? Nope. Well, it was actually Darwin, California. You know, those international news sites always trying to sucker me into reading stories about what's happening in America. Anyway, nobody was hospitalized, but several kids walked away from that store with black eyes to show their friends. I can understand that collectibles are a big deal, but come on, we live in a society. Kate says, doing D&D virtually, so gotta have a Fabrica stream. Oh, yeah, thanks, Kitty. Enjoy your D&D. Roll all the 20s. I don't think I'll ever understand sneakerheads. Wait, that's actually a thing? Said Tuan. Yeah, said Hannah. You didn't know about it? It's really big with hip youngsters. I guess I don't pay very close attention to the behavior of hip youngsters. This is a true thing, though. Some people will have dozens of sneakers. Well, that was evident from the moment I laid eyes on you, said Hannah. But you seem adventurous enough. Maybe one day you'll encounter one of them. On that note, what are we here to see? Tuan led Hannah to one of the portholes of the room they were in. Look at this. Whoa. That is indeed a porthole. No, I mean, what's on the other side? Yep, said Hannah. That certainly is water on the other side of that porthole. Hold on, said Tuan. There's supposed to be a... He trailed off. A what? Well, I don't want to spoil the surprise, said Tuan. Well, you've effectively replaced my awe and wonder of seeing the sea through the porthole in the basement of a Melbourne cafe with a feeling of disappointment that I'm not seeing whatever it is I'm supposed to be seeing. Tuan checked several of the other portholes. This is weird. It's usually... The sound of something landing behind them caused Tuan and Hannah to spin around and face the ladder they just climbed down. A girl with twin tails stood up from crouching stance and dusted herself off. Did you just jump down? Said Tuan. Yep, said the girl. It's only 10 meters. And to think that we wasted our time climbing down the ladder like schmucks, said Hannah. So, Tuan stood gawking at the girl for a few moments. Sorry, I don't remember your name. I'm Ashley, said the girl. I guess turnabout is fair play because I don't remember your name either. It's Tuan. And I'm Hannah. You two know each other? Hannah said to Tuan as she pointed at Ashley. Yes, said Tuan. We know each other so well that we greet each other by asking what each other's names are. That's a great greeting ritual, said Hannah. We should try to popularize it. You know, normalize introducing yourself by a name, even to people you met before. I bet it would save some people a lot of awkwardness. Not everyone is good with names, you know? That's a great idea, said Ashley. I'm going to start doing that. Hannah shot a glance at Tuan and he grinned. So what are you doing down here? Said Hannah. Here to kick us out? Is this a no patron zone? No, it's no problem, said the girl. But I was eavesdropping. Tuan's eyes widened and he looked at Hannah, but Hannah seemed to be more amused than upset at Ashley's appearance. And, said Ashley, it sounded like you weren't seeing what you wanted to be seeing, so I thought I'd come down and take you lower. Oh, where am I being taken now? Said Hannah. About 1,000 fathoms is where things start to get interesting, said Ashley. How much is 1,000 fathoms? Said Hannah. Ashley paused. It's about 1,800 meters, said Tuan. Sounds like a lot of climbing, said Hannah. Guess I should have brought better ladder climbing shoes. That sounds like the lament of a non-sneakerhead, said Tuan. Oh, no need to climb, said Ashley. Just hang on a sec. Ashley walked up to a panel with several mechanical levers, and after several moments, the water outside the porthole began changing hue. What was that? Said Hannah. Swordfish, said Ashley. Ashley, I'm pretty sure it was a sailfish, said Tuan. I'm pretty sure you made that up, said Hannah. No, really, said Tuan. They're a marlin, and they have a long bill like a swordfish, but they have a broad, erect dorsal fin. If you had left the word erect out of that sentence, I might have believed you, said Hannah. No, he's probably right, said Ashley. I've seen him down here with marine biology books. He's a huge nerd, so I definitely trust his word over mine. Well, I'm glad that's settled, said Hannah. The part about you being a nerd, I mean. I think the sailfish with an erect dorsal fin still sounds kind of sketchy to me. Eventually the room stopped descending, and Hannah looked outside the porthole. Now I see what you're excited about. There's a lot of stuff going on down here. Hey, nerd boy, what's this one called? Tuan tried to follow Hannah's pointing finger. Which one are you pointing at? That shark-looking thing. It looks like it's as big as a whale. Oh, said Tuan. That's a whale shark. See, said Hannah. I knew you were just making up names. No, that one's right, said Ashley. That's one of the few ones I know because it's so easy to remember. It's a cross between a whale and a shark. Whale shark. So, said Hannah, this is the level of the ocean where interspecies romance happens. There isn't actually any whale DNA in a whale shark, said Tuan. It just has that name because of its size. It's the largest known species of fish. Hannah shook her head. First it's a whale shark, then it's just a shark, and now it's a fish. Tuan, the thing you need to know about making stuff up is that you need to stick to one version of the story. Sharks are fish, said Tuan. You didn't know that? They have gills. I'm kind of surprised you didn't know. I don't think you're the one who should be surprised by any of this, said Hannah. Everything that you've shown me down here is thoroughly weird. Not knowing that sharks are fish? That seems very normal to me. Hey, Ashley, did you know that sharks are fish? Nope, said Ashley. This is my first time hearing it too. Must be another made-up Tuan fact about marine biology, said Hannah. Tuan shrugged his shoulders. I guess so. The truth is that I'm just really creative and good at making up so-called facts. The part about me being a nerd who spends all his time studying marine biology must be a lie. Nah, I still believe that part, said Hannah. Me too, said Ashley. The trio stood for a few moments, wavering between looking out the porthole and looking at each other. The awkwardness hit just a few seconds before Ashley spoke up. Anyway, I figured this is where you want to hang out, so here you go, 2,000 fathoms. Give me a holler if you want to go deeper. Ashley walked to the ladder and disappeared through the hole in the ceiling. Oh, this game does a number on my throat. Jem said, names go in one end and immediately out the other for me. I have that problem too. For me, it's because I have social anxiety. So, like, usually when I'm meeting someone new, I'm, like, really anxious and, like, nervous and freaking out in my head. And then it's like the stuff they say doesn't sink in properly. Let's see. Ashley's original ideas. Do not steal. Floor sweeper. My last experiment with a kitchen assistant V1 was a big success if you measure success and how quickly it was able to pulverize things generally. The throwing objects at the ceiling technique does not work for pulverizing carrots or celery for salads, but it's very good at pulverizing halogen lamp bulbs. This made me think about how much better it would be if the floor were self-cleaning. Ashlings can sweep up a bit, but usually all they do is move dust around, and try to get them to actually collect debris and put it into the trash. If the entire floor were covered with air jets, any small bits of debris that dropped onto the floor would get quickly whisked away towards the corner, where a vacuum or something could suck them up into a disposal chute. Having a bunch of air jets would require a lot of power to run, But air isn't the only fluid that could be used to carry dirt and dust and broken shards of halogen lamp bulbs. Water could also probably do the trick. The issue is that the water would damage the floor. Ripping up wooden floorboards and pouring concrete would solve that problem, and we could mold the concrete in a way that its shape directed the water towards a drain in the floor. That would mean no more need to sweep. We could just hose down the entire cafe at the end of the day and it would drain itself. Then it would be dry by morning. That's actually a really good idea that doesn't require any special equipment or specialized hardware once the floor is installed. I should copyright that idea to make sure that nobody steals it. Update. After several days of calling the Australian Copyright Council, I finally talked to a person who told me that what I want to cover inventions is a patent, not a copyright. After several more days of trying to contact the patent office, I was told that someone already used my idea. I wonder if it's possible to sue someone for stealing your idea before you came up with it. It's pretty unfair that I'm not able to patent the idea just because I'm too young to have had the idea before someone else claimed it. Knife Retriever version 2. Previously, I discarded the idea of using a large electromagnet to retrieve the knife that was lodged in the ceiling. My research has led me to believe that the knife in the ceiling is actually stainless steel, which contains iron. Iron is ferromagnetic, which is weird because you'd think that only ferro would be ferromagnetic, but I guess iron is too. Also, I was able to find a gas-powered generator that could supply enough power to run an electromagnet for a short period of time, so I don't need to worry about the circuit breakers. It requires a lot of gas, but luckily getting the knife down only requires running the electromagnet for a short period of time. I created the electromagnet by spooling a power cable around a piece of iron. The good news is that the electromagnet is great at pulling knives from where they are. The bad news is that it pulled all the knives from the drawers that were within a meter of it when I turned it on. Also, the knife in the ceiling wasn't affected because it was too far away. I looked it up and magnetic attraction follows an inverse cube law. I'm not sure what the opposite of a cube is. Maybe it's a sphere? But the more I think about it, the more it makes sense that objects further away aren't pulled as strongly by a magnet. The Beseecher 5000. After my lack of success with the Knife Retriever version 2, I asked Shay for help and he lifted me up so I was able to pull the knife from the ceiling. He asked how long it had been up there and I said not long, and he said more than a day? And I said, oh, it wasn't up for a day, which is technically true. I'm glad that asking Shay for help succeeded, but I think in the future there needs to be a way to automate this process of asking Shay for help. I think I need to create a robot with speech capabilities that is capable of asking for favors. Then I could have the robot ask for favors on my behalf. I think this is a good idea because usually when you ask someone for a favor, then you owe them a favor afterward. But if it were the robot asking for the favor, then the robot would owe the favor and not you. Then the person would ask the robot to do them a favor, and the robot would say, sorry, I'm only capable of talking to people, not doing tasks. Then if the person asked the robot to ask you for a favor, the robot would say, I'm sorry, my battery is running low, and then it would self-destruct. It would probably be expensive to build a new robot every time you had to ask for another favor, but it would be better than having to owe someone a bunch of favors after they helped you. Genius. She's so smart. I thought I had seen another. Oh, there it is. The Fate of Icarus. The first thing Che noticed when he entered Ashley's workshop was that her workbench was not in the usual place. It had been pushed up against the wall. The second thing he noticed was that Ashley was sitting on the bench, her back slumped against the wall, evidently still feeling the effects of a caffeine crash. Hey, said Ashley, but her eyes didn't move up to meet his. That wasn't like Ashley. She usually greeted people with her eyes before greeting them with her voice. Hey, kiddo, said Che. You doing okay? I am okay. If feeling tired and achy and yet somehow unable to rest is okay, said Ashley. My mind is still amped up but unable to do anything productive. Why do I feel like this, Che? Is this my life now? Am I going to be okay? Che stepped up to Ashley's workbench and seated himself next to her. I tell you to relax, but it sounds like you're already trying and failing, so maybe it's okay to be amped up and also tired. It's kind of the worst, said Ashley. To be tired but also incapable of resting. Che smiled. Tired but also incapable of resting described how he felt on most days. It had become such a familiar part of his condition that he forgot what it was like to be young, to have the kind of energy that Ashley always seemed to be brimming with. I think you'll have to get used to that, kiddo, said Che. I think you're just getting an early taste of what being an adult is like. That's not reassuring at all, said Ashley. You feel like this every day? If you came here to comfort me, you're doing a terrible job. Che frowned. He always considered himself a good teacher, but he'd come to learn that mentoring someone required skills beyond simply teaching them a skill. When it came to comforting people in times of crisis, he always seemed to manage to find the right words. On day-to-day matters, however... Well, said Che, I think I spent a lot of days feeling how you feel right now. But luckily this will pass for you. And look at it this way, you've learned something today, didn't you? Yes, said Ashley. Maddie is in possession of powerful potions that can yield devastating effects, and she disguises them under innocent-sounding names like espresso. Che nodded, more a nod prompting her to continue than to display approval. But also, you have a terrible bedside manner. Well, but you weren't forced to drink the coffee, were you? No, I did that to myself, said Ashley. Is that what you wanted me to say? You were right, Che. I tried something new for the first time, and now I get to spend the rest of my life regretting it. Try a few more hours, said Che. I'm pretty sure the regret will wear off as soon as you recover from the caffeine crash. After that, hopefully it'll be codified in part of your brain that hesitates just a little bit when you're tempted to ask for that third or fourth espresso shot. Ashley continued looking straight ahead. Welcome, Alex. Welcome. Oh wait, Alexis. Welcome. Point remains, trying new things can be hazardous to your health. Actions have consequences, and the consequences can feel real bad. She opened her mouth and made a noise that was halfway between a gasp and a yawn, like someone who had too much carbon dioxide in their bloodstream and didn't know how to correct the problem without making a face that resembled a fish. Thanks for the lesson, Che. I'm never going to try ingesting anything new ever again. Che frowned again and tried his best to course correct back to something that resembled a useful lesson. That's nice and all, but I don't think avoiding new and novel drinks is going to protect you from ever encountering harm again. Right, which is why I'm not limiting it to drinks, said Ashley. No new foods. I've got a decent enough palate anyway. I think I'm good sticking to the same dozen or so meals for the rest of my life. Che looked at Ashley and hesitated for a moment. He wasn't sure what words of wisdom he could impart to the girl, but he was pretty sure the words weren't the only way to get someone out of a slump. Alexa or Alexis or Hope doesn't matter. Okie dokie. Ashley, stand up. He stood up himself for fear of looking unwilling to follow his own advice. It's snowing. I thought it was starting to turn into spring. No, it's another snowstorm. Why? Said Ashley. Because you can. I can't, said Ashley. All the more reason to stand up, said Che. You should stand up to prove that you can. And if you can't, well, that's good to know too. Ashley groaned and twisted so that she was lying down on the workbench. Che was about to object, but then she started rolling off the workbench and plopped onto the floor. Ouch. Che watched Ashley, not reaching down to offer her a hand. If she was capable of saying ouch, she was capable of asking for help if she needed it. Several painful moments later, Ashley lifted herself off the floor and shuffled backward until she was leaning against the wall next to her workbench. See? You thought you couldn't stand, but you can. Hooray for me, I'm overjoyed, she said in a tone that was clearly far from overjoyed. You can sit down if you'd like to, said Che, sensing that standing was actually a non-trivial feat for Ashley at this moment. She hopped back onto the workbench, but this time sat perched at the edge, with her legs hanging over the edge rather than slumped back with her back against the wall, like she had been when he had first walked in. That was a good sign. I don't want one bad experience to kill your sense of adventure, said Che. Look at where my sense of adventure has got me, Che. I flew too close to the sun, and now that I'm on the surface of the sun, the lights are all bright, and I feel hot and tingly all over, and I feel tired like it's summer all the time, and I really don't like it. I'm just like Icarus. That's not how the story of Icarus goes, though, said Che. Isn't it? Icarus didn't fly to the sun, said Che. His journey was limited to our atmosphere. He just got too close to the sun, and then his wings melted. Ashley raised an eyebrow. Oh, is that what happened? Now the part at the beginning of the story where his dad tells him not to fly too close to the sun, or his wings will melt, makes a lot more sense. Classic foreshadowing. You're forgetting a part of the story, though, said Che. Icarus's father told him not to fly too high, or the sun would melt his wings. But he also said not to fly too low when crossing the sea, or his wings would get wet and he would sink and drown. Wow, so Icarus flying high was actually brilliant. His wings melted, but he managed to avoid drowning. Ashley's voice was still monotone, but she was leaning forward. Well, no, said Che. He still drowned because after his wings melted, he crashed into the sea. Ashley gave a nod of acknowledgement. Same results. The moral of the story is that you're doomed no matter what you do? No, said Che. He drowned, but before he drowned, he soared. Story still ends with him drowning, though, said Ashley. Every story ends with death in some way, Ashley. The question isn't whether you will die or not. The question is, before you die, will you take the opportunity to see just how high you can fly? Oh. Interesting take. A letter from Sophie Cordova. My dear Maddie, thank you for getting in touch with me. Or perhaps I should say, congratulations? I make such a point of making myself hard to find that it's always a surprise to hear from anyone. I sometimes find myself fearing the day when I'll be contacted by someone who isn't a fan of mine, and who is more interested in locking me away than seeking my advice. One might think that people interested in putting me away would be more capable, and in possession of more resources than those like yourself, who simply possess curiosity, and yet it's always the latter who manage to break through the veil I've erected between myself and the outside world. You're the first in over 3 years to manage this, and so it is now time for me to find another hiding place. If your next letter manages to find me, I'll surely have something to worry about. If you're looking for a solution to the problem you outlined in your letter, I'm afraid I must disappoint you. My business is that of teaching people how to ask the right questions so they can find the answers themselves, not giving the answers. After all, the most worthwhile answers are the ones I haven't found yet. That being said, your question about time transference is an issue of special interest to me. The idea of storing vitality within a living, non-sentient creature, such as a plant, is one that I've long considered. The issue has always been one of retrieval. If you did find a way to transfer vitality from a plant into a sentient creature, it would result in a tremendous discharge of energy, such a great discharge that I'm sure it would kill whatever subject was on the receiving end. Absorbing life force from something that doesn't seem that it would do you much good if it kills you in the process. Consequently, I've never experimented with this process myself. Even if I have earned a reputation for being a rule breaker, there are certain things that are simply off limits. Your idea of using a non-living soul as the target for transference is an interesting one. No risk of killing the vitality recipient if it's already dead. Of course, that would require finding a way to infuse a non-living soul with vitality in the first place. And being that most reanimation techniques involve a significant discharge of energy, using the vitality transfer as a trigger would effectively be killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Of course, reanimation is a far cry from necromancy. Is it? What's the difference? I've always thought them as the same. Jem says you're doomed either way is also positive with right mindset. I mean, yeah, I guess if you're ever like a glass half full person. I'm an alchemist, not a necromancer. If I can offer you one piece of advice, these kinds of vitality transfers are not something to be experimented with. Any time that time is borrowed or lent, you're making an alteration to a ledger that the powers that be keep a very careful eye on. Even the smallest of disturbances is enough to attract their notice, and attracting their notice will put a quick end to any research you might be in the midst of. So if you're going to try vitality transference, don't experiment. Go straight for the end goal. If you're going to catch the attention of those whose attention you do not want, make sure that the endeavor is worthwhile. If you have a good reputation, it'd be a shame to squander it on something so trivial as allowing a mouse a few extra seconds on the side of mortality. As they say, go big or go home. I appreciate your taking the time to write to me. You've given me new things to pontificate on, and perhaps one day you may see the results of that pontification in one of my future volumes. Of course, it should go without saying that you won't be able to reach me again, at least not the same way you did before. I've been found, and that means I need to do a better job at covering my tracks. While I rationally hope that I'll never find myself in a position where a fan's letter finds me, there's always a part of me that hopes that one of my readers will manage to track me down. Who knows? Perhaps the next letter I receive at my next residence will come from you. But I'm sure that you have better things to do with your time than try to track me down. There is a time to adopt the posture of a student and focus on learning, but it's obvious to me that you are someone who spent plenty of time learning things and is now ready to do things. So do things, Maddie. Do big things, do dangerous things, do things that break the rules. Not all rules need to be broken, but if you're smart enough to find me, you're smart enough to know which rules are worth breaking. I'm grateful that it's always the reader mail that seems to find me, and never the demands to appear before some kind of tribunal or committee. I used to think that this was a long string of extremely good luck on my part, but over time I've come to realize that those who wish me gone lack the insight of the people who earnestly read my work, readers such as yourself, who are the only ones who truly know me well enough to understand how I think and where I would hide. Bravo, Maddie. You've demonstrated your ability to think like me. Now you must learn to think like yourself. Yours truly, Sophie Cordova. To the cafe. Billiards again? Is it a new one though? I never know if it's a new one or the one I already read. I think this one we've already read. Yeah. Is there a way to get out of here? There we go. Okay. Oh. The Fisherman 2. The expression on Jack's face was expectant when Maddie came out of the kitchen carrying his plate. Expectant, but not impatient. The expression fit his posture, sitting upright with hands folded and resting in front of him. Your halibut's ready. Jack's eyebrows raised when Maddie set the plate down in front of him. He closed his eyes and lowered his chin just a tad, allowing the scent of grilled fish to waft into his nostrils as he drank in the odor. I hate the smell of fish. After several moments passed, a smile crawled onto his face, and he grabbed a fork and began cutting the halibut up. He was several mouthfuls in when Maddie spoke up. I thought you said you weren't going to eat it, she said. Couldn't help myself, said Jack. Smelled too good to not give it a taste, and tasted too good to stop. I couldn't help but notice the hesitation, said Maddie. Jack held up the fork, which had a piece of the fish speared on it. You know, a fish like this, you never know what kind of memories it's going to bring up. Not all memories are good, but this fish, it tastes like adventure. Conquest. You fish much? You could say that, said Jack with a grin. I made it out on the water several days each year. So he's a dead guy. Probably. Catch any big ones? Lots, I'm sure, said Jack. But I'm more of a quantity over size kind of person. The most important weight is your tally at the end of the day. I'm not the patient kind of fisherman. Where'd you learn to be so patient if not from fishing? Fishing's the only time I'm not a patient man, said Jack. Funny, said Maddie. I tend to hear the opposite from a lot of people. I take really long vacations, said Jack. That's when you fish? That's when I don't fish, said Jack. Ah, so you're a fish tradesman. Better known as a fisherman. But yeah, you could have led with that, you know. Didn't I? Well, like I said, I don't go out on the water very often. And yet it's your profession. I'd think that would mean more days on the water. Such is life in Alaska, he said. Fishing season gets shorter every year. Ah, of course, said Maddie. Halibut are seasonal. You can only catch them when they migrate, is that it? It's the kind of business that's only open a few days of the year thanks to Mother Nature. Thanks to the government, said Jack. In 1970, halibut season was 150 days long. Then it got shortened to 100 days. You only work 100 days out of the year? No, ma'am. 100-day halibut season was before my time. By the time I found myself on that side of the Pacific, they were down to fishing derbies. Actually, that's what got me out there. Derbies? All the fish you can catch for 24 hours. They're spaced out. Fishing season is just a few days a year now. Can you make a living doing that? You can catch a lot of fish in one day, said Jack. That's why they had to shorten the season. It doesn't take very many skiffs on the water before you have a problem with overfishing. I was sold the promise of working for several days out of the year and being able to come back home and live the good life the 360 days out of the year that I don't have to go to work. He grinned in a way that suggested he wanted Maddie to prompt further. Did Alaska deliver on that promise? Is America truly a land where the streets are paved with gold? This is not true. The streets aren't paved with gold, even though I'm told there's black gold to be found in Alaska. But yes, Alaska did deliver on what was promised. I worked several derbies a year, and I made enough to live pretty well. I just skipped the part where I was supposed to come back home. What's the matter? Didn't you want to sail back to Australia? Afraid of being seasick? No, ma'am, said Jack, apparently missing her joke. Wait, I don't get it. Because he was already in the boat? You met someone who convinced you to stay. A few someone, said Jack. You spend some time working a skiff with someone. That's the kind of bond you don't find easily, and it's not the kind of thing you give up easily. That kind of bond, working only a few days out of the year? Said Maddie. It's intense. It's like being in the line of duty. It's a little like going to war. War against the fishes? War against the sea. When it's all you can catch for 24 hours, you don't have time to be safe. When the day arrives, you're out on the water, no matter the weather. And those skiffs are not large boats. For every 1,000 fishermen that go out, 997 come back. Firefighters have better odds than that. Soldiers have better odds than that. So yes, it's a bit like going to war. It's always interesting, like, which careers are the deadliest. It's not always what you'd expect. He looked down at the fish in front of him for a moment. There were some times I could swear I would smell death on the water. And every time you pulled up to the shore with a boat full of fish, and the same number of men you left with, it was a giant middle finger to death's face. He broke into a grin. In those moments, you never felt more at home. And when you have that kind of experience with someone, well, you don't screw off to spend the year in Australia, you know? He tapped his chest. I'm one of them now. Jack looked around, and Maddie realized it was the first moment she'd seen Jack really take notice of the space he was in. His eyes squinted as they scanned the shelves behind her, and the people at the tables around him. But I ended up here. I think I always knew I would be here sooner or later. We'll probably get another story from him. That'll probably be Jack number 3. Jem said since he's a fisherman, getting seasick would crop up outside ocean travel. Yeah. Maddie's inbox. Those are the same ones as before, I believe. Advisory roll. Walking to the sky. So this is like a side story thing. Not sure what to expect. Robot! Hey little guy, wanna play? Fetch! Maybe you'll have an easier time grabbing this. What else do we have here? He ran his hand along the shelf and found another object to throw. A flat, dull ring of metal. Catch! The bot took its prize and left. Cute. Oh, hey. She quickly broke eye contact, and her eyes started scanning the floor as if she was looking for something. Tuan, not wanting to bother the girl, turned back to the shelf. Oh, so this is before they knew each other. She'd clearly come upstairs looking for something, and it wasn't a conversation with him. Still, she seemed interesting, and he kind of wanted to talk with her. But again, she wasn't taking the initiative, so neither was he. Her attention was directed towards the floor and not him, so he was surprised to hear her voice again. Hey. Yeah? I was just wondering, did you happen to see a ring here? A ring? Like a... Oh, like a ring. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I took it off and left it here somewhere. No, I don't think I remember seeing a ring that looked like that. She hadn't actually described the ring to him, he realized. Are you sure? It's just a simple metal band, no fancy etchings or anything. A metal band? Not like a Metallica kind of metal band, but you know, like a piece of jewelry. Tuan suppressed an urge to get into a, well, actually, argument about heavy rock versus metal and which side of the divide Metallica fell on. You mean like just a metal ring? Yeah, I'm looking for a metal ring that looks like a metal ring. Kind of like a washer, right? But smooth? I guess? Tuan's blood ran cold as he recalled the object he'd happily surrendered to the robot just minutes earlier. That didn't look like a ring, it looked like a washer. Yeah, I think I saw something like that. There was a little bot up here playing with some metal objects just before. One of them looked kind of like a ring. Oh, great. Is it... Oh, you don't need to. It's no problem. I could swear it was right around here. It wasn't. Sorry, I think it may have run off with it. Oh, you don't need to apologize. I mean, it's not like it was your fault, right? Yeah. He mentally cringed at the way he said haha instead of laughing like a normal person. Well, thanks for checking. I'm gonna go see if I can find that bot. It's me. I'm sorry? I mean, it's me that's going to help you find that ring. Oh, that's really not necessary. Tuan couldn't tell whether she simply didn't want to impose, or whether she really thought she didn't need his help. He decided to shoot his shot. I've got nothing better to do. And I know this place pretty well. You're new here, right? Let me lend you my limited knowledge of how this cafe is laid out. Well, if it's not an imposition, I'm happy to help. To be honest, she was imposing a little. Then again, the situation was mostly his fault. Well, cool, I appreciate it. Tuan, you weren't doing anything anyway. I don't think I got your name, by the way. I'm Tuan. I'm Hannah. Boom, boom. Boom, 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 boom. So, does this ring of yours have any special significance? Special gifts? Some kind of sentimental value? He hoped it wasn't. It's kind of a reminder of who I used to be. Back when I was going through my whole goth phase. I used to wear 10 rings every day, if you can believe it. Now I just have one. Hang on, goth phase? Yeah, you know, goth rings. It didn't last long, though. Turns out going full goth is super expensive. I guess I was drawn to the idea back when I had a brief obsession with death. I also wrote a lot of really bad poetry. Pretty cringe, eh? It's not that cringe. Can't judge a person by their poetry. And I was never a goth, but I've been to a few emo concerts in my time. Sure, but you go to emo concerts, so I'm not sure that you're a good judge of what's cringe or not. I mean, the lion's share of bad poetry is definitely written by teenagers. Speaking from experience, eh? You got any old Tumblr blogs I can look up? I bet you reblogged some real deep, My Chemical Romance gift sets. Don't worry, I'm not actually going to try and find it. You've got plenty of chances to embarrass yourself in real life. Keep the shameful posting hidden. Burn it if you must. I just don't think it's a bad thing to have written crappy poetry. The whole trying to find beauty in death thing feels pretty childish looking back. My emotions were turned up to 11 thanks to puberty. But I think there's more to it than that. I remember how it felt becoming an adult, but not being treated like one, still stuck in that kid-friendly version of life. If you live out in the suburbs, everything is so sanitized it feels fake. And teens run in the opposite direction of what's fake. We embrace the darkest thing we can find, which tends to be death. I guess as teenagers, we don't usually have to confront death. Tawan keeps his voice low out of respect for the other patrons. He knew enough about the cafe to understand that not everyone was here to have deep conversations about death. Maybe not most. I guess you could say I'm an exception. You want to ask a question, don't you? But you're not sure if you're allowed. That's a big assumption. Am I wrong? I'll take that as a yes. And I'll take your continued silence as further confirmation. Okay, you're not wrong. I just don't want to make you uncomfortable. The feeling's mutual. You're not sure you're allowed to ask, and I'm not sure I'm allowed to tell. You're definitely allowed to tell. Sorry, I don't mean to sound pushy. You don't have to tell me if you don't want to. Hey, Shy! Hello! Good... morning? Afternoon? Good afternoon. Sadie says, wow, I wasn't expecting a cool 3D art style for this game. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And like, you can kind of like move it a little tiny bit if you move your mouse. And they do lots of like cool panning and stuff. Evening, night? Yeah, I'm never sure what time it is. It's definitely not night for Shy. You don't have to treat it like a question that needs answering. Not a question, more an invitation. Right. It is the evening for you, Shy? Wait, what? How? Huh? My mom was diagnosed with leukemia when I was 13. My father... 2 p.m. 2 p.m. is not evening. 2 p.m. is solidly afternoon. Yeah, it's evening for Sari. 2 p.m. is definitely not evening. My father typically vanished as soon as he found out. I spent the next year dealing with crippling abandonment issues, not to mention the constant dread. You're too tired to use the right words. That's fine, that's fine. I was pretty sure you were East Coast like me. Because you do the East Coast PAXs. There was more to this story Tawan could tell. But this was Hannah's story to share if she wanted. That's heavy. Thanks for trusting me with it. It was a dark time. But that stuff's all buried deep in the past now. never to be seen by anyone else ever again. Unless you count my old Tumblr, which I forgot the password to, so I guess that'll be out there forever, a monument to my shame. I think you can send a takedown request. The site has to honor it. They send a message to the blog, and if it doesn't respond, away it goes. Is that true? I feel like that could be exploitable. Shy says, I'm so excited for PAX East. I need PAX East. We still got quite a while, Shy. It's not March this year. We got a couple months. We're gonna have a warm convention though, for like the first time in quite a while. You almost never get warm PAX. I wasn't really looking for a solution to that problem, but your advice sounds pretty useful actually. I might give it a shot. I'm really good at offering unsolicited assistance. For example, one time this girl came to me looking for a missing ring, and I told her I'd help her find it. Wow, cool. I hope the story ends with you actually helping her find it. I don't actually remember how the story ended, but I think the big plot twist happened when we decided to study the bookshelf. Like the bookshelf we're standing in front of? Just so. Can we stop now? I appreciate the commitment to the bit, but the ring's not here. The bookshelves had a few nooks and crannies a bot could hide in, or hide a ring in. There's a wooden airplane. Shy says, I was so taken aback hearing about Tumblr in a video game, I thought you were talking about something. No, it's in the game! Are you sure it's okay to move stuff around like that? I'll be fine as long as you don't sneeze. Is it really that fragile? Oh yes. The shoebox ROG is not a plane known for its sturdiness. I'm sorry, I'm not sure I caught that. What's this thing called? The shoebox ROG, short for Rise Off Ground. It's a classic, capable of self-sustained indoor flight for up to 40 seconds. Don't tell me you know every model on these shelves. Nope, just the balsa wood airplanes. When did you become such an expert? Summer camp. I guess preteen boys just find that kind of stuff fascinating. I sure did, and I'll carry that obsession to the grave. And there I was, worried I'd missed out on something important by never going to summer camp. Actually, you kinda did. I'm sure the physics of a rubber band powered airplane. No, I mean like the other stuff. I'm not a big fan of archery or netball either. You really think people remember summer camp because they got to play with bows and arrows? I always figured learning how to fish or shoot an arrow was meant to be some kind of delightful experience. Also, thank you for the flower, Shy! Sadly, it's something I never got to enjoy. The bow and arrows are probably the least interesting part of the archery station. The fun part is going to the archery station during your free time and running into a friend and saying, hey, I haven't seen you since breakfast. Breakfast is a really important part of the summer camp experience, huh? Well, yeah, it kind of is. We're all sharing breakfast at the same time in the same hall. You get to see everyone. To think, I could have been inviting my friends to breakfast this whole time. If only we'd arranged to meet at an archery station. The arranging is the part that misses the magic. It's, you know, serendipity, that's the good bit. Right, so you go to summer camp to have serendipitous encounters with your friends? No, I didn't know anyone the first time I went. Then how did you serendipitously encounter all of these friends? You can't just make friends while you're there. Sounds like hard work starting from square one. Actually, it's not. Crammed all together at summer camp, you fall into friendships like it's natural. You meet loads of other kids, spend every waking moment with them, and then never see them again. And that's fun? Knowing that you'll lose these friends when you eventually leave? Yeah. When you've only got a little time together, you really go all out making the most of the time. Anyway, it doesn't look like the ring's here either. Good news is there's still plenty more ground to cover. That's good news? I'd prefer if our search radius was a bit smaller. It'd be worse if we didn't have more places to look, right? If it's not here, no need to keep digging around. You're the first person I've met who seems to see good in expiring relationships. I think a part of me is afraid that all of mine are temporary. The opposite of that is much worse. For example, when someone new moves into your neighborhood. It's like, oh, we should have them for dinner sometime. Sometime is meant to be next week, but then it turns into next month. and you keep putting it off until eventually you've spent years living next door to people you know nothing about. There wasn't a sense of urgency to the relationship, so it never evolved past how do you do's, you know? Like those people in your life who are always there, you take it for granted that they'll never leave, and forget to enjoy the moments you have together, and then you wake up and they're gone. The best friendships I ever had were the ones with a built-in expiration date. You've thought about this a lot. Yeah, I guess I have. Is that why you enjoyed going to emo concerts? Sounds like a great opportunity to make a friend, spend a few hours with them, and then never see them again. It was kind of a one-time thing, really. I usually listen to music when I'm on my own. I still have the Fall Out Boy album I'd listen to every night when I cried into my pillow. Year 8 sucked. The music was that bad, huh? The lyrics made me feel the pain and futility of my own existence. A lot of my early teenage years were filled with this sense that nothing meant anything. When I listened to that album, it felt like I was staring into the abyss. The music wasn't bad either. Oh good, because taking shots at Fall Out Boy's fighting words. But I'm still wondering, like, if the album made you feel bad, why did you keep coming back to it? I actually enjoy burying my face in my pillowcase and loudly sobbing as I'm overwhelmed by a creeping feeling of existential angst. I get that some people enjoy a good cry from time to time, but I think you might enjoy existential angst a little too much. No, you misunderstand me. I said I enjoy burying my face in my pillowcase and loudly sobbing as I'm overwhelmed by a creeping feeling of existential angst. That's the name of the third track on the album. I genuinely can't tell if you're lying or not. Lying or simply bullcrapping? If I'm just trying to entertain, then it's not really lying. Maybe parody or satire or plain old storytelling. Satire doesn't work if it's indistinguishable from the truth. That title isn't an obvious exaggeration. I'd expect that from them. Well, what if I told you my favorite song of theirs was actually I'm Like a Lawyer with the Way I'm Always Trying... What if I told you my favorite song of theirs was actually I'm Like a Lawyer with the Ways I'm Trying to Constantly Get You Off? And you assume it's a flirting attempt, why? Well, it's suggestive. If I had to describe it in one word, I'd say it's... lewd. And if I told you my favorite Fall Out Boy song was Bang the Doldrums... crude! I've got a dark alley and a bad idea that says you should shut your mouth. Rude! This ain't a scene, it's an arms race. Feud! Our lawyers made us change the name of this song so we wouldn't get sued! Well, that's all there is to see of the mezzanine. No ring, no bot, so... I'm sorry I couldn't be more helpful. Don't be silly, you helped me check all the little nooks and crannies. And besides, you kept me company. Frustrated searching becomes a heck of a lot more enjoyable when you're hanging out with an alright guy. Huh, nice. Could be, yeah. That's a solid theory. You gonna come with, or are we done looking for now? What if we... And hear me out. What if we did not do that and just looked from up here instead? I've done enough walking for now. You wanna sit down? Nah, sitting's overrated. I'm really into leaning against things. It's the new hip thing. Oh yeah, Cinder? You're terrible. Yeah. This place is pretty cool. It's alright. Interesting crowd down there, all types. Which of course means we've got that one guy sporting the blazer hoodie combo. Like, hey, look at me, I'm so cool, but also super chill. What are you doing? You got Dino? Give me Dino. Give me Dino. You want Dino? You want Dino? Yeah. She's fighting her dino stuffed animal. Her dino stuffy. She actually has a couple dinosaurs. They're all by the same company. Oh, so tough. So tough. But I need this hand. I need this hand to press the button, Cinder. Okay, I'll try and play left-handed. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I just dunk on your fashion paramour? Nah, those kind of guys can be real douchebags. But what if he wasn't? He wouldn't be wearing the blazer hoodie combo. Oh no, the Blazer Hoodie combo is something that he has a deep sentimental attachment to. His father left when he was young, leaving him only his grandfather to look up to as a father figure. When his I rewinded. When his grandfather tragically passed, Blazer Hoodie's older brother took that place. He loved his older brother, who can track, and was the coolest jock in town. The blazer was all he had left of his grandfather, and the hoodie was his brother's last gift before heading interstate for uni. But his brother was killed in a sudden car compactor accident that winter, and he never came home from uni. So whenever our boy finds himself feeling lonely, he puts on his grandpa's blazer and his brother's hoodie, and he goes out to drink to their memory. Have you been waiting to use that this whole time? Nah, I just like to think about people's inner lives. It's what I do on the tram. When everyone else is buried in their phones, I'm people watching. Dang. The only way I can get myself out of the house is by telling myself nobody's watching, nobody cares, they're all in their own little worlds. And you've ruined my day. You brigand, I'll never walk free again. They don't see you. They see whatever they want to project onto you. That guy down there? Maybe he's just a douchebag. All we have are our theories. And those reveal more about us than anyone else, don't you think? I have never thought a day in my life, and I don't intend to start now. Clearly, look, it's easy to play on stereotypes saying that guy dresses like a jerk. But where's the fun in that? People aren't always what they seem. I like coming up with dark and macabre backstories, just the worst stuff. Darker than the one you just told? Yeah, but don't worry about it. Come on, you wanna. No, I'm not going to. Sorry, it's one of my rules. Some people find healing in sharing dark thoughts, but I don't think I'm great at gauging what's good for me when sharing. I end up oversharing and then I spiral until I'm in a bad place. So no stories for tonight. Are you wondering if you're allowed to tell? Because I think we're at the point where you shouldn't have to wait for me to ask. My rule isn't to protect the audience. It's to protect me. And buddy, we're still at the point where there are still questions I'm not going to answer. I think the question is whether or not she's a ghost. But that doesn't mean I'm bothered by you asking. I mean, there are always going to be topics that aren't on the table. But you won't know until you ask. That's a good way to look at it. And here I was worried that I'd ruined the mood. I've never shied from a somber mood. A mood getting dark and serious doesn't mean it's ruined. After all, some people like it dark. Yourself included? Hey, you can't have light without darkness, right? That sounds like a Fall Out Boy lyric to me. Good thinking, though. That's why I start every day with my hands in the toaster. The rest of the day feels amazing after that. I grew up north of Brisbane. Do you know what the weather's like there? Nope, but I do know that I like talking about the weather to get away from unpleasant topics. It's downright tropical. Not a bad day in sight. Good weather all year round. Stormy days don't exist for the purpose of this conversation. But some days it'd be bloody gorgeous out, and I'd go for a walk and see nobody out. Just a total ghost town. Sounds like a lame place to live. Sari says hot because Australia. And you know, it makes perfect sense that Australia is hot, but it never occurred to me. Yeah, kinda. Thing is, without bad weather, there are no good days. Every day's the same. It's boring. But here in Melbourne, nobody squanders a good day. After winter, we're clawing at the walls for a hint of sunshine. And that's your case for dark and melancholy conversation. I mean, if everything's out of 10, it might as well be out of 1. There's no scale. I think I'd be perfectly fine if I only ever saw the happy parts. It's a contradiction, isn't it? The people most obsessed with finding happiness always seem to be the most unhappy. Well, duh. They're so obsessed with pursuing happiness because they themselves don't have it. The opposite of happy isn't sad. I think it's emptiness, or a general lack of feeling. You know, comfortably numb. Like, clinical depression isn't just about being miserable all the time. You're not in a constant state of sadness, more like a constant state of nothing. Speaking from experience? That's a personal question. And I was hoping for a personal answer. You don't get to wax philosophical about your emotions and then suddenly clam up when I'm the one asking about them. A medical condition goes a little beyond the realm of talking about emotions. Let's just say that I'm no longer medicated for clinical depression. No longer as in you were at one point? Yes, that was my extremely subtle implication. Great! Let's dance around the subject. I love that. Why make it easy? You really love talking, huh? Is that a complaint? Not at all. It's just, you don't come across as quite so outgoing. I wasn't always. What you're seeing are the results of an extensive, self-inflicted deprogramming effort. That's funny. I guess I can kind of see it, but I didn't want to assume given that you're... It's okay, you can say Asian. If you're trying to deduce my childhood based on stereotypes of second-generation Asian kids, you're not far off. I did not realize he was Asian. Oh, but I guess it makes sense with his name then, huh? I guess it does sound kind of Asian. Growing up in a household where being well-behaved was synonymous with being quiet and out of the way, you tend to end up pretty meek. Huh. When you talked about Asian parents, I was thinking more about, like, academic achievement. Oh, you're not there either. Like many immigrant parents, they want their son to be more successful than they are. My mother was an MD, and my father was an OD, and I'm not still quite sure what's supposed to be another level above that. Oof, sorry about your dad. No, a doctor of optometry. It was a big disappointment to my mother's parents, who were hoping their daughter would go for an ophthalmologist instead. Wow, that's embarrassing. I know it sounds like I'm joking, but my family is the strictest of the strict. Like, graduate second in your class, then have your mother tell you at graduation that you could have been first if you'd hit the books a bit more harder level of strict. Dang, walking talking stereotypes, how dare they? My mom never dropped that stuff on me. On our drives to her chemotherapy. Bonk. Oh no. Woof. That's dangerous, that pipe there's dangerous. They should put up a sign. I can't beat that. What, you mean you don't want to spend the day dwelling on the worst moments of your life? Come on, dredging up childhood traumas is everyone's favorite hobby. Where's your sense of the macabre? Usually I have to pay to dredge up my childhood traumas with someone. Alright, I accept cash, card, and signed photos of Brendan Urier? Who is that? I'll Google him. Urier. Oh, he's the frontman of Panic at the Disco. He's a musician. Alternatively, we can just talk about happy things instead. How do you like cats? All cats. A cab. Agreed. So much for happy thoughts. But they are happy thoughts. Cats may hate me and I may hate them, but I like looking at them. This is probably my spiciest take. Tuan was enjoying the easy rapport he'd found with Hannah, something rare and precious. But with that thought came the sudden sense of panic at the idea of losing this feeling, of losing... Are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. I felt a bit uneasy on my feet there for a second. This place, it kinda does a number on you. You can say that again. This place kinda does a number on you. It was a lie. The anxiety in his chest clawing at his lungs wasn't an infliction brought on by his presence in the cafe. His fear of loss made him just like the rest of the patrons. I'm sorry I've wasted so much of your time. What? You don't have to apologize for that. If you're spending my time, then I guess I'm spending yours too. And for a moment, the two said nothing, simply enjoying each other's company. Hey, are you? Shh. Can you hear it? Hear it? It's the robot! Is this your ring? That's the one. You may now kiss the bride. Great. Guess we're done here then. Yeah, great. I'll see you around. Sure, see you around. Tuan watched her go, regretting how quickly he dismissed her. His mind raced, searching for an excuse to call her back and continue their conversation. Was he meant to yell something like, "Hey, you've got spaghetti on your sweater"? With every step she took, the warmth in him faded until she was gone and he was left empty and cold. Damn it. The loading screens are quite long in this game. Tuan loved darts. People were hard to understand, but a dartboard was simple. Circles and squares and a sharp little missile thrown bare-handed by him. A self-proclaimed dartist. Dartist? Is that a real word? He'd honed his skills on school nights, while his parents were too engrossed in their work to pay attention to him. It was a relatively quiet game when played skillfully, so it never made enough sound to draw their ire. What had started as a distraction was now a secret love. Secret because what self-respecting teenager plays darts? But he was not a self-respecting teenager. Not in the slightest. Yo! Hey, I haven't seen you since breakfast. Oh, hey. You know that would only make sense if we'd actually had breakfast together, right? Shut up. You some kind of chain-smoking darts hustler? I wish. So you're not gonna teach me how to play. So he's been here for a while. I can't tell which of them is the ghost. Maybe neither. Maybe both. That'd be a good twist. Nah, I'm really not any good. Dude, you just hit 2 bullseyes in a row. Yeah, that's the problem. Each segment of the board is worth a different number of points. You start with a fixed number of points, usually 501 or 301, and then you throw darts to deduct the amount from your number. Really? I had no idea this is how darts worked. The trick is... Wow, all my interest is gone, instantly. How'd you get so good at that? Practice. That's the full extent of my darts knowledge anyway, so you're not missing out on anything. And besides, there are far more interesting things around here than this dartboard. More interesting than a dartboard? This stage just gets better and better. Then follow me. Where are we off to? The secret underground fight club. What is it they say? Show, don't tell? This place just looks so dystopian. Where are you off to? This isn't our final destination. I have something cooler to show you. Sari says, it's the whole game a visual novel type thing then? Yeah, it is. I thought it was gonna possibly be like, Valhalla, the cyberpunk bartending simulator. I thought like maybe we'd be like mixing drinks for the customers, but it doesn't seem that way. It seems to just be exclusively visual novel reading. If you're talking about what's at the end of the catwalk, I've been there before. I keep in that way, actually. The catwalk's not interesting. Then where are you going? Going down. You think you're funny. Often. But you know when you just want to eject yourself from a conversation? When you find yourself in a social situation that you can't wait to get out of. Well, rude. No, I never got the chance to make those big grand exits that I'm always dreaming about. Sometimes you just gotta seize the moment or whatever. You'd rather make a dramatic exit than keep talking? I allow myself to do it sometimes, as a treat. So now what? Making a grand exit wasn't the only reason I jumped down here. Oh, so that stunt wasn't the main attraction? You want something interesting, I'm just trying to deliver. What are we pointing at? You can jump down. I don't have the feet of an athlete. Bend your knees when you land, it'll soften the landing. The impact force will travel from your feet through to your hip bone. You're real eloquent when you've got a captive audience, aren't you? Yes, young cricket, don't lock your knees. The more you say, the less inclination I have to listen. You talk in paragraphs, my dude. Whatever. Hup! My method works. Oh, what's this little guy doing down here? Those are the little wait bots that make up for the lack of employees in the cafe. They're all different. I love it. Do you think it climbed down here on its own? It's not outside the realm of possibility. I wouldn't bother it. Try and stop me. Well, you probably shouldn't mess with it. You're sure? Someone probably left it here for a reason, and now they're gonna come looking for it and find out that someone booped it. How would you feel if you were booped by a giant fleshy creature? What? I'm just saying, this is a weird spot to find a robot. It might have been put here to do a specific job. I think it's bored. Can we take it with us? I really, really, really think we shouldn't. Fine. Where are we going? Is this what you wanted to show me? Nah, this is still the journey. Oh, cool. We'll get there soon enough. Is it safe for us to be down here? I was wondering that too. Does it matter? We're young, indestructible. What, because we're young we have to take risks? If the danger exists, I simply close my eyes and pretend not to see it. But for real though, I don't think there's anything down here that hasn't already been stripped for parts. So we probably won't trip into a giant shredder or anything. Or be crushed by giant bouncing logs. If I see one coming, I'll pretend that I don't, so you can enjoy the surprise. You're so thoughtful. Come on. Last one there's a rotten egg. But you don't even know where we're going. Watch your step, you don't want to trip. Didn't you just say something about ignoring danger? I mean, I'm not an idiot. You could have fooled me. Rude. Actually, given the amount of jagged rusty metal I'm seeing around here, we should probably be at least a little careful. That's what I was thinking, everything looks super rusted. There's like holes everywhere. They could fall in. Hannah? Oh jeez. What are you doing up there? Be careful. It looks safe to me. You never know, it could be unstable or ready to collapse. Huh, I just look in the mirror for that. Okay, but for real. Why'd you bring me here if you were just gonna chaperone me to death? We're not at our final destination yet. Oh? Then what were we hanging around here for? So what's dangerous around here? Jagged rusty metal, tetanus probably. It's not gonna poke through your shoes hopefully, but try not to land on it with your face. Noted. Am I being too much? I should note at this point that I'm very bad at evaluating risk. Wow, really? Shouldn't have followed you down here. I'm gonna have double tetanus by the time we leave. Not aiming for triple tetanus? I try to keep my expectations modest. Is this it? Yeah, this is it. I don't know what we're looking at. What are we looking at? My tummy's grumbly. If this is meant to be more interesting, I have bad news for you. This hallway tells its own story. Well, it's too dark to read. There's just nothing happening here. Why hasn't anyone taken the time to make this place nicer? Well, maybe the interior designer was very into rustic industrial. There's no accounting for taste. What a cop-out. There's no accounting for taste? Hey, the human mind is complex. How am I supposed to know? The human mind is complex. Okay, Einstein. Well, actually, Einstein was primarily a physicist, not a neuroscientist. Wow, you must kill at parties. Yeah, chicks really dig me. I guess I can see it. Careful, don't hurt yourself. Do I look like someone who's worried about hurting himself? You're looking more like one of those tour guides who has to walk backwards everywhere. They're not known for being prone to accidents, are they? Hey, you never know. I had this friend who was touring uni campuses. His guide was so distracted by walking and talking that he toppled right into a fountain. And what's more... Oh no! Don't say you told me so. I shouldn't laugh, but well, here I am. Laughing. At you. Great job, little buddy. Oh. Can I pet this one? Yeah, I guess. Oh, they're holding hands. The robot. Aya! Oh wait, it's not holding hands. I think it pinched her. Why did you do that? Why did I do what? Tell me it was okay to pet him. I thought you wanted to pet him. Yeah, I wanted to, but I wasn't asking for your permission. What? I don't understand what she's upset about. You just seemed really bothered when I said not to touch them. The other times, I mean. I didn't need your permission. I was asking your opinion. You know, since you seem to be such an expert on this place. Like, hey, any risk associated with what I'm about to do? Help me make an informed decision? So imagine my utter shock when I actually listen to you for once and literally get bitten for my troubles. I'm sorry. Are you okay? I'm fine. I'm fine. Well, I didn't want to disappoint you by saying it would be a bad idea. Stop being a coward. Tell me what you think, not what you think I want to hear. I'm sorry. You're forgiven. But that little milk bottle isn't. Pinching jerk. Hey, that little milk bottle tripped me first. Yeah, and it was hilarious. Well, I hope you've at least learned the dangers of backwards walking and talking. I have, but how about you? Definitely not. Ladies and Hannah, we've reached the final stop of this nondescript hallway. You really gonna keep saying nondescript, Mr. Doesn't Own a Thesaurus? Dull, sterile, boring, boom. There's no better adjective in my nondescript opinion. Ever read any Lovecraft? Half his monsters were so scary that his narrators couldn't describe them. He really took the easy route with that one. Who did? Lovecraft. Wait, that was his real name? Yeah? No wonder he was like that. What else would a guy with that name be known for? Crafting love. You got me. Where are we? They emerged into a storeroom, shelves stacked with dusty jars full of mysterious glowing liquids. Hannah wondered briefly if any of the contents were edible. Huh. Why are these all the way out here? Try reading the labels. I can't read whatever language that is. It's Latin. Casual flex there, smarty pants. I have an ad hoc understanding of Latin words, phrases, etc. I'm gonna kick your butt. And you would be well justified in doing so. How long were you holding on to that hilarious Latin joke for? Since I read it on the internet. I wanted to understand the lyrics of One-Winged Angel, so I was doing a bit of research. Latin nerds love their wordplay. Sephiroth. Can you actually read any of these labels? Well, none of them say Sephiroth, so no. All I can tell you is that if you see Memento Mori, you probably shouldn't drink it. Is that the Latin word for poison? Remember your mortality. Oh, I'm very aware of my mortality, thanks. So why the obsession with this particular song? It's from a video game. One you played with your friends? Nah, it's single player. I'm not good at connecting with my peers. And I thought we were connecting pretty well. You think we're peers? Because it appears you're out of my league. Ah, shucks. It's true. 3 cheers for my low standards. Hannah's eyes sparkled when she laughed, and for once Tuan struggled to feel anything but warm. Yo, check out that one. I told you already I can't read it. Yeah, but look at it. It looks like there's something trapped inside. Creepy. Should we do something about it? Why are you asking me? Whatever's in wants to get out. I'm not sure it's a good idea to mess with this stuff. What if it's a genie or something? Oh no, is that the sound of impending litigation? I guess I can't stop you either way. It's a will-o-wisp. Thank you. A warm glow suffused them both, and then a heartbeat was gone. Did you hear that? I think so. Do you think we did something we shouldn't have? We? 2 hands touched that jar, and they were both yours. You were at least an accomplice. I just get the feeling we unleashed something. I got that impression as well. Was it a mistake? It was gonna shatter on the ground anyway, so I don't really think we changed the outcome of the situation. Well, even if we did set an evil spirit free, I'm glad we came here. I'm glad we came here too. You ever get that feeling like you've already committed to a decision, but you're not sure if it will lead to something great or something painful? Are we still talking about the jar? Yes, definitely. Let's get a move on. Sure, our final destination's right through here. It's a train track! Why is there stuff floating in the air? Tuan's heartbeat thundered in his ears. Afraid of heights? I think it's perfectly natural to be a bit spooked when confronted with something that could be lethal. Lethal? What are you doing? Buddy? Nothing to be afraid of. Scared me for a sec there, hotshot. Oh yeah? He fell in absence when she withdrew her hand. When I thought to myself, I hope he's falling for me, this isn't exactly what I had in mind. But like, that doesn't seem pleasant, the fall, I mean. Why jump if you don't have to? The gut-wrenching fear only lasts a few seconds. You get used to it. I can only imagine. What I want to know is why you felt compelled to do it in the first place. I just wanted to feel something. Sometimes horror movies just aren't enough. I get it. Yeah, it's just, you know, like I said earlier, better to feel something than nothing sometimes. Is that downtown? I think so. But I don't really catch the train into town that often. I don't recognize anything specific, but the Yara's there, so the rest of the city must be too. Reckon anyone can see us from down there? Dunno. The city looks so different from up here. Yeah. It feels lived in. Most cities do. That's why they're cities. People live there. But some cities just seem sterile, you know? Housing estates and golf courses and toll roads on a grid. Everyone commuting to their office job in a skyscraper that's the same as all the other ones. This one's pretty to look at. Is it safe to sit there? Look, if I can step off this platform, it'd be crazy for me to be shy about letting my legs dangle over the edge. Sitting here like this reminded Tuan of being 7 and swinging his legs daringly over a balcony's edge with his friends. They got yelled at for it because it was dangerous, but the association stuck. It had been a long time since he'd felt so carefree. At a glance, Melvin's sprawl seemed vivid and meticulously detailed, but the more he tried to pick out individual features, the more his vision blurred. From up here, everything ran together like unmixed pain. Everything was just an indistinct part of a larger whole. I thought I'd be able to see my house from here. But I can't. Actually, I can't recognize anything. I know it's Melvin, but it feels like a dream. Do you think we're dreaming? I think I might be. You could be a figment of my imagination. Huh. I was thinking it was the other way around. I suppose it's all about perspective. Considering how my dreams end with the sensation of falling, this is certainly an appropriate place for it to end. I don't really want it to, though. Me neither. If you just brought me here for us to stare longingly into each other's eyes, we could have just stayed down in the cafe. I'm just enjoying the view. Very funny. So when are you going to hurry up and make a move? What took you so long? Far easier to say something clever than to say something sincere. Oh my god, they're gonna smooch. I lied to you earlier. About what? Remember when I told you about my mom's leukemia diagnosis? How I was 13 years old and my dad left us because of it? Yeah, I remember. It wasn't the whole truth. She wasn't the one who got the diagnosis. This hair isn't mine. 6 months of chemo wasn't kind to me. I felt like a fraud every time I wore someone else's hair, so I bought this one from a costume shop. If I was gonna lie to the world about having hair, it might as well be something dazzling. Can you say something? Please? I guess it's not a surprise. You only make fun of people when it's trivial stuff. When you started cracking wise about cancer, I started getting the inkling that it wasn't about someone else. That obvious, huh? Not at first. But I feel like I've gotten to know you well enough by now. You interrupted something. Yeah. I was going to... I know. If you still want to, Sorry, mood's dead. My fault. Need to reset the scene. How about we go for a walk? I think that'd help. Glub glub. Thanks, Goo! As the last vestiges of the terminal faded into the distance, Juan realized they were entering a world of their own construction. There were no rules here. They were well and truly free from everything else. He didn't know what they were walking towards, but in the end, did it really even matter? For a fleeting moment, Tuan felt oddly at peace despite everything. Hannah had trusted him with her true self. But with affirmation came fear. Fear of what came next, of the moment after that and the one after that. He closed his eyes, suddenly finding it hard to breathe. Hannah's gentle touch on his back pulled him back into reality. Are you okay? I'm fine. It's just an anxiety attack. Don't worry about me. Just? Was it the height from sitting on the edge? No, they never happen when I'm there, never. It's only when everything's fine, when everything's safe. Because when everything is good, I know it only takes one bad moment to bring the whole house of cards crashing down. Was it what I said before? Not what you said. What I didn't say. What didn't you say? I knew. I've known cosplayers. I can recognize a good wig. You knew? Yes. I wouldn't have had the courage to keep talking to you otherwise. The best friendships I ever had were the ones with a built-in expiration date. Yeah. Okay. I think I get it now. All Tuan saw in her eyes was betrayal. Is that what I am to you? A girl with an expiration date? It's not you, it's me. I'm so used to people being transient in my life. It wasn't so scary to talk to you if... I'm sorry I brought you here because I wanted to feel normal for just one night. I'm sorry! That is like a terrible thing to say to someone. Like, oh yeah, I talked to you because I thought... that's terrible. Tuan! I wanted to feel normal for one night. I wanted that too. To leave everything behind and feel normal, even if only for a few hours. And I did. Thank you. Hannah. Tuan felt them teetering on the brink of something. What was she feeling? The same dread? The same longing? Tuan felt Hannah shaking in his arms, hot tears soaking through the fabric of his shirt. But not just her tears. He realized he was crying with her. Tuan wished a train would pull up to the platform to whisk them away so they'd never have to return home. He knew Hannah felt the same way. But that's not how life worked. Are you ready? As long as it's with you? Just don't let go. Hannah's fingers dug into his skin in the first terrifying seconds. He couldn't blame her. Upside down, falling like a rock towards the center of Melbourne, Tuan saw something new in Hannah's eyes. It seemed as though the wind had stolen their words, leaving only silence. They walked in lockstep, each dragging their feet. I don't think we can walk any slower. Try me. I can do this all day. You came out tonight looking for something very specific. Yeah. I'm not sure that's me. But I think it might be. But if it's not, I guess I'm okay with that too. At first glance, Tuana thought the shelves of jars were just thrown together afterthoughts, nothing more than a forgotten mess. But now he realized that each jar seemed perfectly created for its contents, as if they were made for each other. Hannah seemed far away, perhaps also thinking of the jars. Or perhaps of something else entirely. You think I'm carrying around a lot of pain, don't you? Hard not to after all this. But it's not you. I've been thinking about myself. I assumed you were carrying a lot of pain, not because you did anything to make me think that. It's just easier to cope when I assume everyone else is going through the same stuff as I am. That said, I reckon I figured something out about you. You like me. No way! I thought this hand-holding business was strictly platonic. I want my money back. I just gave you a new piece of information, you dingus. What? Did you expect me to do some flowery I like you anyway speech? Because that's not really my thing. You've got baggage. That's part of who I am. You don't get to pick and choose. And that's okay. I like you. I like all of you, Hannah. Every little thing that's ever happened to you has shaped you into the person standing next to me. And I really, really like that person. You're right, I don't get to pick and choose. So when I say I like all of you, I want you to know that I mean it. You're not the first person who's ever told me something like that before. But you're the first person I've believed. The worst way to lie to someone is to tell them what you think they want to hear. Yeah, you get it. Everything escalated very quickly. Are you ready to do this? I'm ready as long as you're doing it with me. Then don't let go. Tawan waited for the moment he knew was coming, for Hannah's form to fade as all spirits did upon leaving the terminal. But the moment never came, and there she was on the other side, her warm fingers intertwined with his. Are you? I'm still here. I go in for my last round of chemo tomorrow. So are you gonna hurry up and kiss me already? So he thought she was dead. She's like, joke's on you, sucker, I'm still alive. Now you're stuck with me. Make your creator proud. So I just put us back to the start of this level. You can now speak to Samantha to experience the side story Devil's Den. Okay, so you can go downstairs. What a prank. Alright, so we talk to them. Keep the balance. Do we do this one yet? Okay, I think we've done this one. Now, I said we can talk to Samantha to start her side story, but where is she? Is she outside somewhere? Where is she hiding? Continue. Pum, 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 pum. Day 2, 10 p.m. The terminal. Hello? Ah, what was that? I said, can I get 2 lattes? Yeah, sure thing. You want these takeaway or not? For here, please. Go take a seat and I'll bring it over. Ah, crap. You're right, mate. Yeah, all good. I should really get Ashley to do this. Sorry, what? Nothing, I'm just talking to myself. Alright. Gah. Where's the broom? Ashley! Where's the broom? Ashley? I need a hand. Come help me. Come on, I've gotta find a broom. Atta girl. Hey, are any of your friends around? Probably. What? When did you teach them to do that? I didn't. That one's just weird. Uh-huh. How you doing, kiddo? Sleep deprivation's kicking in. Sometimes I feel like nobody ever sleeps in this cafe. Except Kishan. He has slept a lot while he's been here, hasn't he? It's because you keep getting him drunk. What? I haven't done that once. Not you. I mean, you. So not me at all, but Maddie and Ned. Gotcha. Those brigands. You're telling me. How's Maddie doing? Well... Phew. How close are we to being done? Fairly close. I'm not super worried about getting it done without Ashley either. Rad. Anyway, what were you saying? Oh, just that I think I understand everything now. And that's all. Well, I appreciate your restraint in not generously supplying me with your moral take on it. Huh, no worries, don't want to be that guy. Dang, I'm actually gonna miss you when you're gone. Wow, are those some honest feelings coming from you? Doth thy icy facade crack? Does Maddie seem like the kind of person who hides behind a mask? The correct word there is dost, and please don't make me take it back. Huh, I guess you really got into that whole boatman of the River Styx thing, huh? If you ever find yourself on the River Styx, be sure to give the boatman or the barista a friendly wave. Is that what you think I am? Kind of, yeah. Interesting. Do you not feel that way? I don't know if the metaphor is that accurate, but... I can see why you'd draw parallels, but this place serves more as, an entrance? You don't have to come here on your way to the next place, but it's on the route for sure. Just a stopping point on the highway to hell. I'm sorry, we don't allow AC/DC references in here anymore. Maddie wouldn't admit it to anyone, but she once spent an entire day listening to Back in Black on repeat. Well, I tried. We're less on a highway and more just, an embouchure to the Empyrean. If you want to get real fancy with the wording, that is. An entrance to heaven? Very roughly speaking, yeah. But hell, I haven't seen the other side, so I can't even say that for sure. I'm fairly certain there's something there, though, which, I don't know. I can take comfort in that, I guess. Oh, and speaking of comfort, how are you feeling? Like every particle in my body is slowly moving away from every other particle in my body. That was rather eloquent. Expressing your feelings eloquently doesn't make them more valid, but it can make them easier for other people to understand. What use is feeling pain if you can't find a fun way to describe it? Day 2, 11 p.m. at the terminal. My head freaking hurts. It sucks and stuff. I keep telling you the painkillers will take effect in a few minutes. I'm not gonna stop yelling about it until they do. You know, some philosophers believe that experiencing pain is one of the best ways to make sure you know that you're alive. Chay's met some of these guys. He swears it. He just had too much time to forget their names. That sounds fake. Which philosophers? Famous ones? Oh my gosh, you're actually just making it up. Possibly. You could have sold it better. Say that some famous singer said it instead. Cross that generational gap. You gotta appeal to the kids. I feel like every time I do that, I just end up looking like one of those old guys who's afraid of wide-ranging societal shifts. I mean, you are old. I'm not. You're like 6,000 years old. You gotta give me this one. Fine. How's your head feeling? It still sucks. How about we grab a drink and go sit outside? It's nice and cool out there. Do I have to? Yep. How are you feeling now? Better, marginally? Things existing at the margins still deserve attention. Come on, I'm sure the drink isn't hurting. What even is this? I put 6 sugars in it. Aw, you know me so well. So, how are things at home? Meh. What's that translate to in old people language? Things are normal, I guess. Mom's nearly done with her PhD. Well, that sounds good. It is, probably. But she's pretty busy, so that means we're stuck eating microwave dinners at night. Ashley's parents have forbidden her from tinkering with the microwave after the magnetron incident. Ah, explains why you've barely left this place since last week. I mean, I'd be here anyway. True. You did ask her, right? What, if I could be here? Yeah, don't want to invoke her wrath, do I? She doesn't worry about me being here. You remember when she talked to Maddie about liquor licensing laws, right? Don't you love it when the government offers to sell your rights back to you after they've confiscated them? Huh, I think it was more of a lecture than a conversation. After all, Maddie wasn't doing anything wrong aside from letting you hang around after hours. I'm still amazed that Maddie didn't just tell her that we're not technically subject to the regulations, since we're not registered with anyone but the council. She made the right choice. That would have been an ugly argument. But anyway, she's fine with me being here. She's got my mobile number, and as long as I respond to her check-ins, she's not gonna come and get me. Good. I wouldn't want to worry her. Ah. Wonderful. Ugh. My arm will get wet. Aw, don't worry about it. We can dry it off inside. Just trying to enjoy the rain. Okay. I was joking about fake philosophy earlier, but I really do think it's important to take a moment to enjoy things when you can. Rain can feel oppressive. It can stop you from going outside and doing the things you enjoy. But there's nothing like the smell of rain before sunrise. Petrichor. Yeah, it's faintly magical. Did I ever tell you that? Only about 100 times. I can hear it 101 times. It's okay. Alright, I'm actually getting kinda wet. Let's head in. So given the fact that I'm very obviously a dork with a bleeding heart, it's definitely safe to assume that I've let people other than you stay longer than they're technically allowed. You're so emotionally repressed that I would have never guessed. It's actually impressive. Well, you know, we all have our ways of coping with persistent extreme stress. Millennial things. Why don't all these poor kids just buy some more money? Yep. But yes, I do understand how you feel. The separation, the difficulty keeping your thoughts together, the base level feeling that something's slightly askew, and the fact, not the feeling, that your time is up. Never loved facts. Me neither. Honestly, I think it feels like having a cold, just without any of the physical symptoms. I guess that description works too. It's not quite as compelling as the one about your particles being repulsive, though. Or that's definitely not what I meant by that one. Isn't it? It's about time. I can't believe I created these beautiful creatures, and you turned them into dumb waiters. Alas, such is life. They gotta pay rent somehow, considering how many cups they drop. That's a feature, not a bug. It's to make them seem more alive. You've taught them to intentionally drop coffee cups in the name of verisimilitude? You'd hate for your little mechanical critters to be too good at their job. It would totally kill the vibe. Maybe. I'm gonna get Maddie to start ordering cheaper cups. See? I'm promoting efficiency in your procurement cycles. I hate whoever gave you that management book. I'm sensing some hostility. Do I need to talk to HR? Who's our human resources manager? I'm sure it's very good at its job, just not at bussing coffee. Robots should not be human resource managers. They're not even human. Maddie wants us downstairs. Oh, I suppose she's done setting up. I'm glad she was able to do it without me. Gosh, so proud. Taught her everything I know. You are a gremlin, you know that? Gremlins are often blamed for mechanical problems, so in Ashley's case, the description fits perfectly. Of course. Shall we? Day 3, 12 a.m. in the basement. Oh, this was the start of the game. It's too bloody damp down here. I know we're underground, but I don't suppose there are any windows we could open? There's a ventilation duct in here somewhere. Maddie, mind opening it up and get some fresh air circulating? Other end's blocked right now. There's a dumpster sitting on top of it. You'll have to grin and bear it. Can we hurry this up? We've done this before, old man. Some people think that Che is wise behind... Some people think Che is wise beyond his years. The truth is he just doesn't look his age. You know it takes a while to set up. I don't appreciate your tone. Sorry. At the very least, can we turn some lights on? With all the crap you've got scattered around the place. Maddie has more important things to do than declare the cafe. I'd like to at least know where I'm putting my feet. Ashley, would you mind? Thanks. You're more organized than last time I see. Practice makes perfect. Keeping a place organized is easy. You just have to clean a little bit every single day. Just... Hey, Maddie. How much more wire do we need? I think that's enough. Great. Now... Che? What's up, Lil P? Some people use diminutive nicknames to create emotional distance. Che uses them to close that distance. I found you a chair. Ah, thank you. So, this whole thing... Surely it's not legal, yeah? Yes, the council found it confronting. For good reason, I suppose. Because it utterly upsets the natural order, mate. It's not just bureaucracy. Sometimes the powers that be are willing to turn a blind eye, but patience and leniency are both in limited supply these days. Shush you. Most rules can be bent after all. And Maddie has a particular fascination with breaking rules. Maddie says that the only reason she learned the rules is so that she would know how to break them. She's only half joking. Hey, don't give her all the credit. Bah. Is this related to her gambling for time? Mm-hmm. So, the transfer was the same sort of magic we're doing now, yes. The council successfully suppressed all available information about it, though. Suppressing information doesn't make it go away. It just hides it from the eyes of people who lack the curiosity and persistence to uncover it. For good reason. What happens if something goes wrong? Well, you don't tend to mess it up more than once. Or try it again after you fail, for that matter. What do you even call this sort of magic, then? Question's irrelevant, because it's all banned. Strictly verboten, off limits, and likely to be met with a harsh penalty. Wait, is it verbatim? 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 Extremely cool? That's what I call it. Well, by definition, it's a conduit ritual. Rituals are boring. It's the consequences that you have to worry about. But hey, we're among friends, so we can call it what it really is. Necromancy. All those hours are in this tree. Why do you hoard the hours here instead of using them to pay off your debt? Why would I use them to pay off a debt if I could use them to save a life instead? Oh. All right. How can I help? Will the subject please step forward? Council Gazette. We regret to inform you of the passing of Che Wu, a beloved fixture in the Australian alchemical community and owner of the terminal. As an innovator in alchemy and material spellcraft, and as a friend to anyone and everyone who walked through his doors, he will be missed. The best compliment a man like Che could ask for. You ready to go? Oh, you ready to do this again? Sure. Try not to kill me this time. Cool. Ashley, let's do this. Ready when you are. I hate this. You have reservations? It's unnatural to store hours on a non-sentient being like that. It can still feel pain, and this is a very painful process for everyone involved. Yeah? Yeah. Guess it's time for us to watch the show. Let's see how badly this can go wrong. Yay. Calcination, solution, separation, conjunction, putrefaction, congelation, cibation, sublimation, fermentation, exaltation, multiplication, projection, conjunction. Good enough. Ashley? Everything's nominal on my end. We're looking good, so let's get started. Increase power to 80%. Cibation. Holding steady. Cool. Next segment. Activating. Have they never watched Fullmetal Alchemist? It never goes well? Well, one of them's already missing an arm, so... How are we doing? It's going fine. Conjunction's about halfway open. Just concentrate. Having some issues here. Hey, we need more power. Yep, ramping it up. I don't know if this will melt our conduits, though. Oh, crap. Yep, our conduits are definitely melting. Ashley, language. Frick! Bypass it. I can patch the wires, but I don't know what else I can. Do that, now. On it. How close are we to finishing the cibation? We're about 90%. Shoot. Shoot, shoot, shoot! Are we gonna try again? I think I have to reinforce the wires and that'll fix it. Yes. We're gonna keep going until we make it through. Do or die. Reset, then start again. Calcination, separation, conjunction, libation. Ugh, not again. Just a couple seconds more. And... you've got it. Yes! Beginning sublimation. You got this, Maddie. What's next? We've opened the connection. Now all I've got to do is transfer the time. How are you feeling, Che? I don't know. Che? Sublimation. No! Okay, we won't stop. We've gotten this far. I'm not giving up now, darn it. Maddie? I can't hold on to it. It's slipping out my fingers. Energy levels are dropping again. See if you can keep it going for just a few more moments. Rerouting. We could try it again? I don't plan on stopping. I think the conduit's only gonna last one more go and then it's kaput. And maybe you're kaput too. I don't know. Shoot. Alright, Ashley, take your position again. We'll get it this time. Stop. Just stop. No, I've nearly got it, I swear. You are not going to bring me back. No. I've humored this enough. You've done your best, but this task is beyond you. I need to move on, and it's time to make your peace with this instead of trying to pervert the natural course of things. You never asked me if I wanted to stay. You just made the choice for me and hurt yourself and everyone around you in the process. Let me leave. Well, now we know why she's the owner of the bar. Or of the cafe. Jacoby, you're a gosh darn bin chicken is what you are. What? No way. Crabs don't eat sushi or garbage. You don't know that. Yeah, well, you know what does eat sushi and garbage? Thristiornis maluka, otherwise known as the Australian bin chicken. We find that term offensive. We're actually white ibises. Aha! Huh. Incriminated yourself there. I'd expect nothing less from a bin chicken. Darn it. Okay, so moving on. Classic misdirection. No, seriously, did you two see what happened back there? Yeah, that was rough. And yes, that thing with the ritual was also tough to watch. You weren't here when Che died, but... I remember. They just behaved like nothing had happened. Oh? My impression was that neither of them had ever remotely considered the possibility of failure. Idiots. Yes, but we're only here because of them, so we should be respectful. It seems to me like nobody in this cafe really seems to think things through. Yep. This place has a weird effect on people. Too much magic in the air, maybe. Who knows? Will they be okay? I don't know how I'd forgive something like that. Being kept here against my will when my very essence breaks down. That's what I believe kids these days call a party foul. Honestly, I don't know. I think Maddie probably has some self-reflection to do. Another chapter complete. And we finally figured out what was going on. Pair of saps, aren't we? This is actually a good stopping point for today. Let's see. Will the game let me save yet? No. Oh man, we only did 2 chapters. There's 3 more. Plus another extra one down here. Alright, we'll definitely be playing next week then. Alright, but we'll stop here for today, friends, since I do have yoga today. I feel like stopping at the end of a chapter is a good way to handle it. Let's see who's online. Alrighty. We will go raid Mercury. Looks like he is doing some Monster Hunter. I wonder if this is the new one that he's been super excited about. But yeah, thank you for coming, everybody. It was fun hanging out with you guys. I know this game There's a lot of reading, so hopefully you don't mind just hanging out with me and listening. Alright, we'll go read Mercury. We will say cryptid read. Yeah, curry today too. But first I gotta do yoga. The curry is the reward. Alright everyone, tomorrow we will be over on the Moe YouTube channel actually. We're doing a Pokemon Day collab with some special guests. So make sure you go over there tomorrow. And on Friday, I'll be back here in the evening with some more garden story. Alright friends, have a good rest of your Wednesday. Have fun over with Mercury, and bye bye!